Introduction. The luminous blindness. Imagine for a moment that you have lived your entire life inside a sealed room, without windows, illuminated only by a small, flickering candle. Everything you know, everything you have loved and feared, is found under the faint circle of light of that candle. You believe that is the universe. You believe that the shadows dancing on the walls are the absolute reality. But outside that room a midday sun shines. There are oceans, mountains, galaxies, and colors that your eye has never seen and for which you do not even have a name. Welcome to the human condition. Modern science has confirmed what the mystics taught. The mystics of the mystery schools of Egypt and Greece taught this millennia ago. Your physical senses lie to you. The spectrum of visible light, what your eyes can capture, represents less than 1% of the existing reality. The other 99% is invisible to you, including radio waves, gamma rays, antimatter, and dark energy. It includes thoughts, emotions, and etheric fields. You live blind, stumbling in the darkness, believing that solid matter is all that exists, when in reality, matter is only the dry and empty shell of a cosmic fruit whose pulp is pure energy. This audiobook, The Eye of the Soul, is not a self-help manual. We are not here to teach you how to decorate your dark room with prettier furniture. We are here to tear down the walls. We are here to talk about invisible vision. For centuries, humanity has atrophied its ability to see. We have become obsessed with the intellect, with linear logic, with what can be measured and touched. We have exchanged wisdom, gnosis, for information, data. We have forgotten that the human being is not a body with a soul, but a spirit that temporarily inhabits a biological suit, and that this spirit possesses latent senses that are asleep due to lack of use. You have an eye that you do not use, not an eye capable of seeing the sacred geometry that sustains reality, capable of reading the memory of the ether, Akasha, and capable of navigating the subtle worlds that exist in the same room where you are now, but in another vibration frequency. In the coming chapters, we will leave behind psychology and motivation. We will delve into pure metaphysics and occult anatomy. We will talk about the structure of the energy field, the music of the spheres, the light vehicles, and the immortality of consciousness. I will not ask you to believe me. Belief is for the blind who need a cane. I will ask you to experiment. I will ask you to open your inner lid. What you are going to hear may challenge your logic. It may seem like magic or science fiction. But remember, for a man of the 12th century, a smartphone would be black magic. What we call magic is simply a superior science that we have not yet understood. It is time to understand it. It is time to stop looking at the shadows on the wall and turn to look at the fire. Get ready. The surgery for spiritual cataracts begins now. Open your ears wide, but close your physical eyes. You no longer need them where we are going. Chapter 1. The Library of the Ether. Look at the empty space between the stars. Do you think it is nothingness? You are wrong. It is fullness. It is the mother of all forms. It is the skin of God. In that apparent silence is written every tear you have shed, every thought you have had, and every empire that has fallen. Oblivion does not exist in the universe, only the inability to remember. Blavatsky adaptation. Every thought is a vibration that never dies. It is imprinted on the invisible substance of the cosmos and remains there, waiting for a tuned mind to capture it again. Nothing is lost. The universe is a vast hard drive that is never formatted. Nikola Tesla. Let us begin at the beginning, or rather with what was before the beginning, before solid matter existed, before atoms grouped together to form stars and planets. Before your body took shape in your mother's womb, a substance existed. The ancient rishis of India called it Akasha, heaven or primordial space. The medieval alchemists called it ether or quintessence. Modern quantum physics, in its dry and mathematical language, is beginning to call it the zero-point field or quantum vacuum. The name does not matter. The reality it describes matters. We live under the greatest optical illusion in history. We believe that empty space is the absence of things. You look at a room and say, here is a chair, a table, and in between there is nothing. That in between is the deception. That space is not empty, it is full. It is saturated with a subtle substance, invisible to your physical eyes, but tangible to your soul's eye. It is a superconducting fluid of information that connects every point. It connects every point of the universe with every other point. It is the canvas upon which reality is painted. And most importantly for you, Seeker, it is the memory of the universe. Today we are going to enter the Forbidden Library. We are going to discover that you do not have private thoughts. We are going to discover that the past has not gone away. It has simply been archived on a different frequency. And we are going to understand that genius, intuition, and prophecy are not magical gifts, but the technical ability to connect to God's Wi-Fi and download files. Try the fifth element, the skin of the cosmos. For centuries, materialistic science tried to deny the ether. The Michelson-Morley experiment in the 19th century supposedly proved that the ether did not exist because they could not detect it with their primitive instruments of light and mirrors. They decided that light traveled through absolute vacuum. It was a catastrophic error that delayed our spiritual understanding by 100 years. How can a wave, light, sound, radio, travel without a medium? Sound needs air. Waves need water. Light and thought need ether. The ether is the connective tissue. It is the matrix. Imagine a vast three-dimensional spiderweb that fills everything. It fills everything, even the inside of your atoms. Nothing is separated. You do not end at your skin. Your energy field extends and interacts with the field of the ether, creating waves. Every time you think, you throw a stone into this still lake. Every time you feel an intense emotion, you generate a tsunami in this invisible ocean. And since the ether is a perfectly elastic medium without friction, the wave never stops. It travels to the far reaches of the cosmos and remains recorded forever. This means that the universe is holographic and fractal. The information of what happened in Atlantis 10,000 years ago, or in your childhood 30 years ago, is still floating. It is still floating here right now, in the ether surrounding your head. You do not see it because you do not have the decoder tuned, your pineal gland, just as you do not see the radio waves of the FM station passing through your body right now, but if you turn on a radio, the music appears. The past is a frequency present in space. Teos, the Book of Life, how reality is recorded. In all sacred traditions, there is talk of a book where the actions of men are written. The Bible calls it the Book of Life. The Egyptians said that the scribe Thoth recorded every word. It is not a moral metaphor to scare sinners. It is a technical description of the physics of the Akasha. The Akasha is a photosensitive substance. It is photosensitive and psychosensitive. It reacts to consciousness. Imagine an infinite magnetic recording tape. When you have a thought charged with emotion, love, hate, fear, you print an electromagnetic footprint on the Akasha. A record is created. This record contains not only the cold data, who, when, where. It contains the vibrational quality of the event. It contains the exact feeling. If you could access the Akashic record of your first kiss, you would not see it like a movie on a screen. You would relive it. You would feel the nerves in your stomach, the smell of the perfume, the temperature of the air and the other person's emotion. Because in the Akasha, subjectivity is preserved intact. That is why great seers and prophets, like Nostradamus or Edgar Cayce, could enter a trance and accurately describe past or future events. They were not guessing. They were reading. They were rewinding the tape and narrating what they saw. First, the illusion of the private mind, the cloud. This is where the ego trembles. We like to believe that our mind is a private safe. No one knows what I'm thinking. No one knows my dark secrets. False. At the level of the ether, privacy does not exist. Only transparency exists. Your thoughts are radio broadcasts. You are emitting your signal 24 hours a day. This explains phenomena that materialistic science calls coincidences. You think of someone and they call you. Magic? No. You emitted a strong signal in the ether. The ether, which connects A and B instantly, caused the other person's field to vibrate. Their brain decoded the signal as wanting to call so-and-so. It is called telepathy, and it is the natural communication of consciousness. Spoken language is only a clumsy and late invention for when we lost the ability to connect to the Akasha. This carries an immense responsibility. It means you are responsible for your psychic pollution. If you spend the day emitting hate, judgment, envy, and fear, you are dirtying the collective Akasha. You are creating a toxic cloud of mental smog that others breathe. Wars do not start on the battlefield. They start in the accumulation of violent thoughts in the Akashic record of a nation until the pressure bursts. Mental hygiene is not only for your well-being, it is an ecological cleaning service for the planet. Fair genius does not invent, it remembers, downloads. Let's talk about the great geniuses of history. Mozart said that he did not compose his music. He said that he heard it complete in his head, already finished, and that he only had to hurry to write it down before it faded away. Nikola Tesla saw his inventions, motors, turbines, floating in the air with such detail. He could test them mentally and see which parts wore out, without having built anything physical. Srinivasa Ramanujan, the Indian mathematician, said that the goddess Namagiri dictated complex mathematical formulas to him in dreams that he could not have deduced logically. Where does this information come from? It does not come from the brain. The brain does not produce ideas, the brain receives ideas. The genius is the one who has the antenna clean and oriented toward the high strata of the Akashic library. There, in the world of ideas, Plato's archetypal world, all inventions, all symphonies, and all cures already exist. The airplane existed in the Akasha millennia before the Wright brothers brought it down to Earth. The internet existed as an energetic concept long before computers existed. You also have access to this. Those eureka moments, those brilliant ideas that strike you in the shower or while driving, are downloads. For a second, your rational mind went quiet. Your vibration rose and you accessed the file. The secret of creativity is not forcing the mind. It is tuning the frequency where the idea is already living. The anatomy of the library, the levels. The Akashic records are not a chaotic soup. They have a hierarchical structure based on vibration. Imagine a building of infinite floors. Lower floors, the lower astral. Here the dense thoughts of humanity accumulate. Fears, nightmares, obsessions, violent lust, hate. It is a zone of grey and sticky mist. When you have nightmares or intrusive thoughts, you are often involuntarily tuning into this frequency band. It is the psychic dumpster. Middle floors, the mental. Here are ideas, logic, mathematics, philosophy, social structures. It is where most of intellectual humanity operates. Higher floors, the causal Buddhic. Here reside the pure archetypes. Unconditional love, sacred geometry, truth without distortion, the music of the spheres. This is where mystics and great artists enter. To read the records, you must raise your own frequency. You cannot access divine wisdom, high floor, if you are in fear or rage. The library has a natural security system. Your vibration is your access key. If you are dense, you only see density. If you are light, you see the light. That is why the purification of character is the indispensable prerequisite for true vision. Without ethics, metaphysics is dangerous. Verse, the guardians of the threshold, protectors of information. In the esoteric tradition, it is said that the entrance to the records is guarded. There is talk of the lords of karma, or the librarians. Do not imagine them as humans in robes. They are energetic intelligences. They are high-frequency egregores that ensure powerful information does not fall into hands that would destroy. Have you ever tried to know something, for example, the future of an investment or the private life of another person, and felt a total block, a mental confusion, a headache, or simply a wall? They are the guardians. They are telling you, access denied. Your intention is not pure. You seek this for ego, greed, or control. The soul's eye only opens completely when the intention is service or evolution. If you want to see the records to win the lottery, the door will be closed. If you want to see the records to understand your trauma, heal it, and help others, the door will open wide. Served spherical time. Everything happens at once. To understand the Akasha, you must break your concept of linear time. In the ether, time is not a line. Past, present, future. Time is a sphere. The center of the sphere is the eternal now. All past and future events are points on the surface of the sphere, equidistant from the center. From the Akasha's point of view, Julius Caesar is crossing the Rubicon now. You are being born now. You are dying now. This explains premonition. If the future already exists in the form of a probability wave in the Akasha, you can remember the future, just as you remember the past. It is like climbing a mountain. Below, on the linear ground, you only see the stretch of road in front of you. Above, in the Akashic vision, you see the whole road. You see where you come from and where you're going. You see that there is a dangerous curve 2 kilometers away. You come down and say, "Careful, there's going to be an accident." Did you guess? No. You saw the complete map. Fate is not written in stone, it is written in light. And light can be redirected if one has sufficient consciousness. The future you see in the Akasha is the most probable future, according to current inertia. But free will can change the course at any time. 13. The practice, tuning the dial. How do we begin to consciously read this library? You do not need complex rituals. You need silence and question. The Access Protocol. 1. The silence. The Akasha is a very subtle voice. The noise of your neurotic mind is like a jackhammer. You cannot hear a whisper next to a jackhammer. You must learn to be still. The question. The Akasha responds to demand. You must launch a clear question into the ether. Not what will happen, but what is the truth about this situation? What is the origin of this pattern in my life? 3. Active waiting, receptivity. Here is where most fail. After asking, they start thinking of the answer. Error. If you think, you use your old database, brain. You must remain empty, waiting for the answer to arrive. 4. The form of the answer. The Akashic answer is rarely a spoken voice. It usually comes as an instantaneous information packet, a sudden certainty, a symbolic image, a chill in the spine, an external synchronicity. Learn to trust your first impression. That soft and fast voice that appears milliseconds before your logic begins to argue, that is the voice of the Akasha. Your logic will say, "That's nonsense." Your soul's eye will say, "That is the truth." Mime and healing the past in the ether. The most powerful application of the records is not curiosity, but healing. Since time is an illusion in the ether, you can go to the file of a past trauma and modify it. You do not change the physical fact. What happened, happened, but you change the energetic resonance of the fact. You can enter the record of your childhood, visualize yourself as a child in that moment of pain, and from your adult and conscious self, give love, protection, and wisdom to that child. By doing so, you are injecting a new frequency into the file. You are rewriting the code. The event stops emitting pain and starts emitting neutrality or wisdom. You have hacked the library. You have changed your story. And by changing your energetic story, your present changes instantly. Phobias disappear. Chronic pains go away, because the source of the signal has been altered. Chapter 2. The Geometry of God. God geometrizes continually. Plato. Philosophy is written in this grand book, the universe, which stands continually open to our gaze. But the book cannot be understood unless one first learns to comprehend the language and read the letters in which it is composed. It is written in the language of mathematics, and its characters are triangles, circles, and other geometric figures, without which it is humanly impossible to understand a single word of it. Without these, one wanders in a dark labyrinth. Galileo Galilei. Look at a flower. Look at the center of a sunflower. Look at the shell of a snail on the beach. Look at the way pine cones. Look at the way pine cones are arranged. Look at the spiral galaxy in a photo from the Hubble telescope. And now, look at your fingertips and observe your fingerprints. At first glance, the world seems like a chaos of random shapes. It seems that nature improvises, throwing matter here and there without rhyme or reason. The physical eye sees diversity. The soul's eye sees geometric unity. There is no chance in the universe. What we call chaos is simply an order of such high complexity that our linear mind cannot process it. But if you learn to look with the correct lens, you will discover that behind every leaf, every planet, and every cell, behind every leaf, every planet, and every cell of your body, there is a master plan. There is an invisible grid, a scaffolding of light. Matter does not group together just because. Matter is poured into pre-existing molds made of pure geometry. Today we are going to study the native language of consciousness. God does not speak Spanish or English or Sanskrit. Those are human languages, limited and linear. God speaks in frequency, light, and form, and the structure of that language is sacred geometry. To understand this is to stop seeing the world as a set of things and start seeing it as a symphony of crystallized patterns. If you change the geometry of your energy field, you change your physical reality, because form follows frequency. I, the circle, and the point, the origin of everything. Before there were complex forms, there was only one form, the sphere. In all ancient cosmogonies, the universe begins as a cosmic egg, a sphere of pure consciousness. The circle is the perfect shape. It has no beginning and no end. All points on its surface are at the same distance from the center. It represents unity, the absolute. It represents the mind of God at rest. It is the number 0 and the number 1 at the same time. But a perfect sphere by itself cannot create anything. It is static. It is the eternal solitude we spoke of in the previous book. For creation to exist, the one must become two. Consciousness, the central point, decides to move. It moves to the edge of its own sphere, and from there projects a second sphere of the same size. Now we have two circles that intersect, sharing the center of one with the circumference of the other. This shape, the intersection of two spheres, is the gateway for all matter. It is called the vesica piscis, bladder of a fish. Look at it closely. It is the shape of an eye. It is the shape of a vulva. It is the shape of a mouth. It is the portal through which light enters the darkness. From this simple geometric interaction, all numbers, all proportions, and all possible forms are born. Light, literally, is born from geometry. On the first day of Genesis, when God said, "Let there be light," what he did was create this interference pattern. 2. The seed, the egg, and the flower, the embryo of the cosmos. If consciousness continues this movement, rotating and creating new spheres at the points of intersection, a hypnotic pattern is formed. With 7 spheres, the seed of life is created. Curiously, it is identical to the cellular structure of a human embryo in its first days of division. If it continues rotating, the egg of life. If it continues rotating, the egg of life is formed, and if it completes the cycle, the flower of life is revealed. You have surely seen this symbol. 19 interlocking circles within a larger sphere, forming a pattern of 6-petaled flowers. It has been found engraved in the temples of Osiris in Egypt, burned into the rock. It was burned into the rock at an atomic level, not carved. It is found in the Forbidden City of China, in ancient synagogues of Israel, in temples of India, and in the art of Leonardo da Vinci. Why were all ancient civilizations, separated by thousands of miles and years, obsessed with the same drawing? Because they knew it is not a drawing. It is the blueprint of reality. If you take the flower of life and connect the centers of its spheres with straight lines, you get Metatron's cube. And inside Metatron's cube are hidden the 5 perfect volumes that build all the matter of the universe, the Platonic solids. This means that everything that exists, from your DNA to distant galaxies, is born from this floral pattern. It is not decoration, it is cosmic engineering. When you meditate, visualizing the flower of life, you are not imagining. You are tuning your brain to the base frequency of creation. You are resetting your operating system. Through it, the bricks of reality, Platonic solids. Alchemy tells us that there are 4 elements: earth, water, air, fire, and a hidden 5th ether. To the modern mind, this sounds like cheap poetry. But for the initiate in sacred geometry, the elements are not physical substances. They are geometric frequencies. There are only 5 3D shapes that are perfectly symmetrical. All their faces are equal, all their edges are equal, and they fit perfectly inside a sphere. They are the Platonic solids. Each one corresponds to an element or state of matter. Tetrahedron, 4 faces, triangles, represents fire. It is the sharpest and most penetrating form. It is heat, action, will, digestion. Electrical energy has tetrahedral geometry. Hexahedron or cube, 6 faces, squares, represents Earth. It is stability, inertia, the solid base. Salt and pyrite crystals grow in cubes. It is the structure that allows dense physical experience. Octahedron, 8 faces, triangles, represents air. It is balance, the mind, breathing. It is a double tetrahedron, 1 above, 1 below. Icosahedron, 20 faces, triangles, represents water. It is fluidity, emotion, change. It is the form closest to the sphere. Dodecahedron, 12 faces, pentagons. This was the best-kept secret of antiquity. Pythagoras forbade talking about it outside the school under penalty of death. It represents the ether, or quintessence. It is the shape of the universe itself and the spirit. It is the structure of DNA and the planetary energy grid. To understand this is the basis of metaphysical healing. If you have too much fire, inflammation, anger, fever, your internal geometry is saturated with uncontrolled tetrahedrons. You need to introduce the geometry of water, icosahedron, or earth, cube, to balance. Healing is not chemical, it is geometric. Quartz crystals work because they have a perfect geometric structure, silicon tetrahedral, that emits a stable signal. When you bring a crystal close to a sick body, whose geometry is distorted, the body tries to copy the stability of the crystal by resonance. It regeometrizes itself, it heals. Fare the signature of God, Phi 1618. If the platonic solids are the bricks, what is the cement that unites life? There is an irrational number, a magical proportion that appears in absolutely everything that is alive. The Greeks called it Phi, pi dollars. Its value is approximately 1.61803. It is the golden ratio. Why is it sacred? Because it is the only mathematical way to divide unity, such that the whole is to the larger part what the larger part is to the smaller part. It is the formula for infinite self-similarity. It is the way the finite can contain the infinite. Measure the distance from your shoulder to your fingertips. Divide it by the distance from your elbow to your fingers. The result is 1.618. Measure the phalanges of your fingers. The ratio is 1.618. The spiral of your ear, the position of your heart in your body, the structure of DNA, length and width. Everything in you is built on Phi. Now look outside. The arrangement of petals in a rose, Phi. The spiral of a hurricane, Phi. The spiral of the Milky Way, Phi. Financial markets, Elliott waves, Phi. Do you think it is a coincidence? It is the signature of the artist. Where there is Phi, there is life. Where there is no Phi, there is death or artificial chaos. Modern human constructions, square boxes of cement, do not respect the golden ratio. That is why they make us sick, depressed, and exhausted. They are geometrically dissonant with our biology. Gothic cathedrals, pyramids, and Greek temples were rigorously designed with Phi. That is why you feel your soul expand upon entering them. V, the spiral of consciousness, Fibonacci. Nature hates straight lines. The straight line is the fastest path between 2 points, yes, but it is a dead path. There is no growth in the straight line, only displacement. Nature loves the curve, and specifically, the spiral. The spiral is the path of growth. It allows expansion, while occupying the minimum possible space and maintaining the original proportion. Consciousness moves in a spiral. Kundalini energy rises up your spine in a spiral, like 2 intertwined serpents, or like DNA. Water, when it goes down a drain, forms a spiral vortex to gain speed. Air in a tornado moves in a spiral. Blood in your heart is pumped in a vortex movement, not a linear push, a recent discovery in cardiology that mystics knew centuries ago. The Fibonacci sequence, 1, 1, 2, 3, 5, 8, 13, 21, is the way the physical world tries to approach the perfection of the golden ratio, Phi. It never quite reaches it, but it approaches infinitely. This teaches us a deep spiritual lesson. Perfection is an asymptote. We are on an eternal journey of approach to the source. We never reach the end of evolution, because the spiral is infinite inward and outward. Your spiritual life is not a ladder, it is a spiral. By the Vitruvian Man, you are a temple. Leonardo da Vinci drew the Vitruvian Man, a man inside a square and a circle, to show us something we have forgotten. The human body is the measure of all things. Your body is not a biological vehicle designed by evolutionary chance. Your body is a geometric resonator. You are designed to fit perfectly between heaven, circle, and earth, square. When you do yoga, tai chi, or mudras with your hands, you are not doing gymnastics. You are creating geometric shapes with your body to channel specific currents of universal energy. If you put your fingers in a position, mudra, you close a geometric circuit. If you adopt an asana, posture, you turn your body into an antenna shaped like a triangle or an arc, picking up different frequencies. You are a living antenna. If your posture is bad, crooked spine, closed chest, your geometry is collapsed. The signal from the source does not enter well, you get depressed, you get tired. The moral uprightness and the uprightness of the spine are intrinsically linked. Straighten up, align your geometry, become the pillar that unites heaven and earth. 7. Illness as geometric distortion. What is illness from the point of view of the soul's eye? It is not an attack by viruses or bacteria. Illness is a loss of geometric coherence. Your cells are liquid crystals. They have an ordered structure. When you vibrate in fear, hate, or stress for a long time, you introduce a noise signal into the system. Noise breaks cellular geometry. The cell forgets its sacred pattern, its connection with the body's flower of life, and starts behaving chaotically. Cancer is geometric anarchy. It is a cell that has lost the master plan and grows without phi, without proportion, devouring resources. True healing is reinforming matter. It is reminding the cell of its original form. This can be done with sound, mantras, light, chromotherapy, visualization, mental sacred geometry, or the laying on of hands, Reiki magnetism. When a healer lays on hands, they are not giving their energy. They are acting as a tuning fork. The healer maintains a stable and coherent internal geometry, love order. The sick person's field, which is chaotic, comes into contact with the healer's ordered field. By the law of entrainment, chaos tends to synchronize with order if the order is strong enough. The sick person's geometry resets. Health returns because form returns. Fatal, invisible architecture building in the etheric. The initiate learns to build not only with bricks, but with the mind. Before materializing a desire, you must build its geometric scaffolding in the invisible world. This is what occultists call thought forms. A thought is not smoke. It is a real geometric structure on the mental plane. A thought of hate has a sharp, irregular piercing shape, like broken glass and dark colors. A thought of love or blessing has rounded, symmetrical, floral shapes and luminous colors. When you visualize your goal, do not limit yourself to seeing the final photo. Feel the structure. Give it solidity. Build the temple in the air. If your mental structure is weak, doubts changing your mind every day in coherence, matter has no mold into which to pour itself. The building collapses before it is born. If your mental structure is solid, perfect geometry, laser focus, persistence, matter must fill it. It is physical law. The secret of the dodecahedron, the Christ grid. Let's return to the dodecahedron, the forbidden shape with 12 pentagonal faces. It is said to be the form of Christ consciousness. The Earth is surrounded by several energy grids. The old grid was icosahedral, based on fear, survival. The new grid being activated is dodecahedral, based on love, unity. Every time you feel unconditional love, not romantic love but solar love, love for being, your auric field takes the shape of a dodecahedron. You align yourself with the new planetary grid. You become a node of the network. Therefore, love is the ultimate protection. You cannot be astrally attacked if your geometry is dodecahedral, because low-frequency energies, which are chaotic or cubic, find no grip on your surface. They slip off. Perfect geometry is impenetrable to evil, because evil is, by definition, imperfection and fragmentation. To be integral, whole, is a geometric quality. It means you have no holes, that your structure is one. Chapter 3: The Silent Symphony. The world is sound. Matter is nothing more than frozen music. Architecture is petrified music. If you want to find the secrets of the universe, think in terms of energy, frequency, and vibration. Nikola Tesla. Close your eyes for a moment and listen. Listen to the hum of the refrigerator, the distant traffic, your own breath. Now imagine that you can amplify your hearing 1 billion times. What would you hear? You would hear the roar of your atoms spinning. You would hear the deep song of the earth rotating on its axis. You would hear the whistle of the solar wind crashing against the magnetosphere. You would hear the music of the spheres. The universe is not a silent place. Empty space is vibrating. Absolute silence does not exist. What we call silence is simply a frequency that our human ear, limited between 20 Hz and 20,000 Hz, cannot capture. In the previous chapter, we discovered that reality has a sacred geometric structure. We saw the bricks, but who lays the bricks? What invisible force takes the sand of chaos and orders it into a perfect mandala? The answer is sound. Vibration is the architect. Form is the building. Today we are going to study cymatics, the science of visible waves. We will understand why ancient scriptures said that God spoke and the world was made. It was not a poetic command. It was an acoustic frequency emission that collapsed the quantum wave function into solid matter. You are a song, and if you are out of tune, you fall ill. If you tune yourself, you become enlightened. So the creative word, the logos. All great cosmogonic traditions begin with a sound. For Christians, it is the word, logos. For Hindus, it is the Om, the primordial hum of the cosmic engine. For the Egyptians, the god Thoth created the world through the sound of his voice. For Australian Aborigines, the world was sung into existence in the dreamtime. This is not mythology. It is advanced physics disguised as a tale. Modern physics tells us that the basis of matter is not solid particles, but vibrating strings, string theory. Depending on how the string vibrates, an electron, a quark, or a photon appears. That is, the particle is the musical note produced by the string. If you change the note, you change the matter. Lead has one frequency, gold has another. Alchemy is not chemical magic, it is musical transmutation. If you can change the vibration frequency of the atomic nucleus of lead, it literally becomes gold. The Creator, therefore, is the great musician. And you, made in his image and likeness, possess the same instrument in your throat. The larynx is an organ of creation, not just communication. The word abracadabra comes from the Aramaic avra kedabra, which means, I create as I speak. Every time you speak, you are emitting a pressure wave that alters the structure of reality. To speak is to legislate. Face the dance of the sand, cymatics. If you are skeptical and need to see to believe, observe cymatics. The Swiss scientist Hans Jenny, and before him Ernst Chladni, performed an experiment that changed our understanding of reality. He took a metal plate, scattered fine sand on it, and then made the plate vibrate with a violin bow or a speaker. When the plate was silent, the sand was an unformed chaos. But the moment a musical note sounded, a miracle, the sand began to move, to dance, and to group together, rapidly forming precise and beautiful geometric patterns, circles, mandalas, hexagons, spirals. The higher the frequency, the more complex and perfect the drawing. If the sound stopped, the sand returned to chaos. If the sound changed, the drawing changed instantaneously. This experiment demonstrates a universal law. Sound organizes matter. The sacred geometry we saw in Chapter 2, the flower of life, the Platonic solids, is not static. It is the result of a standing wave of sound. You are sand on a metal plate. Your cells, your bones, and your blood are the sand. The voice that keeps you in human form is your own soul, your vibratory frequency. If your frequency is distorted, fear, stress, lies, the drawing of the sand breaks. That is illness. Cancer is a cellular cacophony. If you recover your fundamental tone, the sand returns to its place. That is healing. Therapy. Everything is frozen music. Goethe said, architecture is frozen music. The soul's eye sees that all matter is densified sound. Imagine an airplane propeller. When it is still, you see it as solid. You can touch the blades. When it starts to spin fast, it becomes transparent. You can see through it. If it spun at infinite speed, it would disappear from sight. If it spun very slowly, it would look like an impenetrable solid wall. The solidity of your table or your body is an illusion created by the speed of vibration. If you could slow down the vibration of your atoms, you would become as dense as a stone. If you could accelerate it, you would become liquid, then gas, then etheric. And finally, you would become pure light. Spiritual ascension is not going to another place. It is accelerating the spin. It is raising the octave. The spiritual world is right here, occupying the same space as the physical world, but vibrating so fast that it passes through matter without touching it. To see spirits or angels, you don't need to travel. You need to adjust your receiving dial to a higher frequency. You need to accelerate your own consciousness to enter into resonance with them. Therefore, silence the canvas of sound. For music to exist, there must be intervals of silence. Without silence, sound would be a constant and unbearable white noise. Silence is the matrix. It is the feminine aspect of God. Sound is the masculine. Silence is the Akasha at rest. In modern society, we have declared war on silence. We live surrounded by constant noise, traffic, notifications, background music in stores, televisions left on for company. This noise is not innocent. It is a strategy of spiritual suppression. Constant noise keeps your brain in beta waves, alert, stress. It prevents you from dropping to alpha or theta. It prevents the connection with the soul. Noise fragments your internal geometry. It keeps you in a state of chaotic sand. The initiate seeks silence, mauna, not as an absence, but as a presence. When you manage to silence external noise and internal noise, compulsive mental dialogue, you begin to hear the symphony. You start to hear the nada, the sound of the current of life. It is a high-pitched electric hum heard inside the ears in deep meditation. That hum is the vibratory signature of your nervous system connecting to the source. Listening to it recharges you. Via the human tuning fork, the law of resonance. If you place two tuning forks tuned to the note A, 440 Hz, next to each other, and strike only one, the second will begin to vibrate and sound by sympathy without anyone touching it. It is called sympathetic resonance. Energy is transferred from one body to another if they share the same frequency. But if the second tuning fork is tuned to another note, it will remain silent and motionless. You are a living tuning fork. Why do you feel exhausted after talking to a pessimistic person? Because by resonance, your body has tried to match their low frequency. If you are not well tuned, the other's note drags you down. Why do you feel euphoric after a concert or a spiritual ceremony? Because you have entered entrainment with a higher frequency. The collective vibratory field has elevated you. This explains the crucial importance of your environment. Tell me who you walk with and I will tell you who you are, is a law of acoustic physics. If you surround yourself with tuning forks that vibrate in complaint, poverty, and illness, you will end up vibrating in that triad by pure physics. If you surround yourself with those vibrating in success, love, and wisdom, your internal sand will order itself into those patterns without effort. Protect your vibration. It is your most valuable treasure. If you feel that a place or a person lowers your note, leave. It is not bad manners, it is vibratory hygiene. Fair mantras and access codes, Sanskrit. For millennia, mystics have used mantras. The modern Western mind believes a mantra is a positive affirmation or a prayer. It believes the power lies in the meaning of the words. It is wrong. The power lies in the shape of the sound wave. Ancient languages like Sanskrit or Hebrew are not conventional. They are vibratory. In English or Spanish, the word water is arbitrary. It could be called glub, and if we all agreed, it would mean the same. In Sanskrit, the word for a thing is the sound formula of that thing. If you pronounce the sound correctly, you are invoking the vibratory essence of the object. The mantra Om does not mean God. The mantra Om is the vibration of God. By chanting it, your physical body becomes that vibration. That is why mantras work, even if you don't know what they mean. They are access codes. They are master keys. The Gayatri mantra or Om Mani Padme Hum are mathematical sound sequences. They are designed to alter the geometry of your brain and open specific portals, chakras. Chanting a mantra for 108 repetitions is like passing a violin bow over your internal sand plate over and over until mental chaos reorganizes into a mandala of peace. You are not praying to an external god. You are tuning your instrument. 7. The voice that builds worlds, the throat chakra. Your throat is the bridge between your mind, invisible world, and your reality, visible world. The 5th chakra, Vishuddha, is the center of purification and manifestation. Every time you speak, you are casting spells. That is why it is called spelling, from spell. Observe how you use your voice. Do you spend your time saying, "I'm tired, I have no money, I'm going to get sick"? What a miserable life. You are using your divine power to decree destruction. The universe is a great acoustic photocopier. You say, "I am a disaster." The universe, which does not judge, only obeys, says, "Received, frequency disaster requested," materializing in 3, 2, 1. And it sends you more disastrous situations to confirm your decree. Lying is the most destructive act for your vibration. When you lie, you create dissonance. Your heart knows the truth, frequency A, but your mouth says something else, frequency B. Destructive interference occurs. The wave breaks. Your auric field tears. You weaken. You lose spiritual authority. A master never lies, not for morality, but because he knows his word must be law. If he lies, his word loses power. For your decrees, "I am wealthy, I am healthy," to work, your subconscious must know that you never lie. If you always tell the truth, when you decree something not yet true in the physical, the subconscious assumes it must become true because you said it. Your word becomes gold. Felt? The music of the spheres, Pythagoras. Pythagoras, the father of mathematics and Western music, had perfect pitch. He taught that the planets, as they revolve in their orbits, emit a constant sound due to their speed and distance. Each planet is a note on a giant cosmic scale. The distance between Earth and Moon corresponds exactly to musical intervals. The universe is a song. This is called the music of the spheres. NASA has recently recorded the electromagnetic waves of the planets and converted them into audible sound. Saturn sounds like a horror and mystery movie. Jupiter sounds like a techno choir. The Earth emits a hum similar to the OM. Pythagoras was right 2,500 years ago. This means that astrology is not just influence of rays, it is musical resonance influence. When Saturn and Jupiter make a conjunction, they are playing a specific chord in the sky. That chord reverberates in the ether and affects your small sand structure, your psyche. It does not determine you, but it influences you, just as sad background music predisposes you to melancholy. The master learns to listen to the music of heaven and dance with it, instead of trying to dance samba when the universe is playing a requiem. Challenge noise as a weapon, dissonance. We live in an age of dissonance. Modern architecture, industrial pop music, city noise. Much of it is out of tune with nature, which vibrates at 432 Hz, while standard music was artificially tuned to 440 Hz in the 20th century. This slight detuning creates a subliminal tension in the human being. It keeps us irritable, disconnected, and anxious. It is an invisible war. If you want to awaken the eye of the soul, you must seek harmony. You must listen to music that respects sacred mathematical proportions, Bach, Mozart, Gregorian chants, Indian ragas. This music does not just entertain, it restructures. Studies with plants show they grow faster and healthier with classical music or smooth jazz, and wither or grow deformed with dissonant heavy metal or industrial noise. You are a plant with legs. What enters through your ears is as important as what enters through your mouth. Feed on nourishing sounds. Listen to the wind. Listen to the sea. Listen to the silence. Listen to kind voices. Heal your acoustic atmosphere and you will heal your life. Chapter 4, The Night Traveler. Sleep is the little brother of death. Every night you die and every morning you are resurrected. The wise man does not waste a third of his existence in black unconsciousness. The wise man uses the night to travel, to learn, and to visit his true home before the physical body shuts down definitively. Sufi tradition. I know this is not a dream because dreams are blurry, and this is more real than wakefulness. Here colors sing and thoughts are solid like bricks. I have crossed the threshold and returned to tell it. Death does not exist. There is only the change of vehicle. Robert Monroe journeys out of the body. You look at the clock, it is late. You brush your teeth, turn off the light, get under the sheets and close your eyes. A few minutes later, your breathing becomes rhythmic, your heart rate drops, and your brain shifts from beta waves to delta waves. For materialistic science, you have shut down. Your consciousness has temporarily ceased to exist, so the body can repair. For the eye of the soul, however, the most miraculous event of the day has just occurred. You have unfolded. At the exact moment your physical body enters paralysis, REM atonia, so as not to act out your dreams, a click occurs at the base of the brain. An exact copy of your body, but made of semi-transparent light, detaches from the flesh. It rises a few inches above the sleeping body. It turns, it passes through the ceiling, and it enters the fourth dimension, the astral plane. Most of humanity does this every night, but they do it unconsciously. They leave their bodies like drunk sleepwalkers, float a few meters, dream chaotic fantasies, and return with the alarm clock. I had a weird dream, they say. It was not a dream, it was a poorly remembered journey. Today we are going to learn to be lucid travelers. We are going to learn that the night is not for resting. The body rests, you do not need to, but to explore, study, and work in the inner planes. We will discover the geography of the invisible world, the vehicle of light, the astral body. First, let's understand the engineering. You are not a body with a soul inside, like a battery and a flashlight. You are a Russian doll of bodies. You have the physical body, hardware, the etheric body, battery, energy, and the astral body, software, emotion. The astral body is your vehicle for the fourth dimension. The Egyptians called it the Ka. Occultists call it the desire body. It has a human form because your mind expects it, but it is infinitely plastic. It is not subject to gravity. It is not subject to inertia. It cannot be wounded, burned, or cut. If a truck hits you in the astral, it passes through you like smoke. If you fall from a skyscraper, you float or bounce. It is the body of Superman. This body is attached to the physical by the famous silver cord, mentioned in the Bible, Ecclesiastes 12:6. Before the silver cord is snapped, it is a thread of infinite elastic energy that connects your astral navel with your physical navel. This cord is your lifeline. It transmits vital energy from the physical body to the astral so you can travel, and sends the instant return signal if there is danger. While the cord is intact, you cannot die or get lost. Physical death is, technically, the irreversible cutting of this cord. Astral travel is simply stretching the cord. Turke, the physics of the fourth dimension, plasticity. The astral plane is not a geographical place. It is not up there in the sky. It is here, superimposed. It occupies the same space as your room, but in another frequency. However, the laws of physics there are radically different. In the physical plane, 3D, inertia exists. If you want a house, you need months and bricks. In the astral plane, 4D, thought is immediate action. There is no inertia. If in the astral you think, I want a house, the house appears instantly in front of you, built with astral matter, light densified by the mind. If you think, I want to be in Paris, boom, you are in Paris. There is no travel, only teleportation. If you are afraid and think of a monster, the monster materializes in front of you roaring. This explains why nightmares are so terrifying. In the physical, if you fear a monster, nothing happens. In the astral, your fear creates the monster. The environment responds to your emotion in real time. Therefore, the first requirement for the night traveler is emotional control. If you enter the astral full of fear, hate, or uncontrolled lust, you will create an instant hell for yourself. You will be chased by your own demons, thought forms. If you enter with peace, love, and curiosity, you will create paradises and temples. 3. The invisible geography, lower, middle, and higher astral. The astral plane is not uniform. It has floors or strata of density, defined by vibration. The lower astral, the dumpster, is the densest zone, vibrating just above matter. Here, heavy emotions accumulate, depressions, addictions, violence. It is a dark, grey, foggy place. Here, shells and souls of addicts wander. It is not the biblical hell, but it looks like it. The inexperienced traveler sometimes falls here due to fear or low vibration before sleep. If you find yourself here, do not fight. Raise your vibration. Think of love, light, and you will ascend automatically like a cork in water. The middle astral daily life is an exact copy. Here is where you usually walk when you dream you are at home, but something is different. It is the transit zone. Here you meet other dreamers and the recently deceased. The higher astral, heaven, is where light is golden, blue, or white. There are no shadows. The music is celestial, music of the spheres. Here are the temples of wisdom, Akashic libraries and cities of light. Demons and fear do not enter here. The vibration is too high for them. They would burn. This is your destination. For lucid dreaming versus astral travel, there is a technical confusion we must clarify. What is the difference between a lucid dream and an astral projection? Lucid dreaming. You are inside a private mental bubble. The setting is 100% created by your subconscious. You can control everything. It is like a VR video game where you are God. Astral travel projection. You leave your private bubble and enter the collective internet. The setting is objective. If you visit your friend's house in the astral, you will see what your friend is actually doing. You cannot change the setting at will because it exists independently of you. However, the gateway for both is the same, realizing that you are not in the physical, the awakening within the dream. The guardian of the threshold, sleep paralysis. To exit consciously, you must face the guardian. Most people, when about to unfold consciously, experience sleep paralysis. You wake up in bed. You cannot move a muscle. You feel pressure on your chest. You hear a very loud electrical buzzing in your ears. You feel a presence in the room. The animal instinct screams, "I'm dying, there's a ghost, I'm being attacked." You struggle to move, wake up sweating and say, "What a nightmare." Error. You aborted takeoff just when the engines were on. That buzzing is not bad. It is the frequency change of your brain. That paralysis is not a disease. It is the safety mechanism, so your physical body does not fall out of bed while your astral leaves. That presence is usually your own astral body trying to separate, or a guide waiting. The master's secret is surrender to the fear. When paralysis and buzzing arrive, do not fight. Relax. Say, "I am ready. Take me out." Convert the buzzing into propulsion. Visualize that you float toward the ceiling. In the moment you stop having fear and apply the will to exit, a pop occurs and silence. You are floating. You are light as a feather. You look back and see your body snoring in bed. Congratulations, you have broken the prison of flesh. Reality checks. How do you know if you are in the astral or the physical right now? Never assume you are awake. False awakening is very common. You must do reality checks during the day to create the habit. If you do it while awake, you will do it while asleep. The finger in the palm. Try to push your finger through your left palm. In the physical, it hits. In the astral, the finger goes through the hand like butter or jelly. The jump. Take a small jump with the intention to float. In the physical, gravity pulls you down. In the astral, you will stay suspended or come down very slowly. The clock text. Look at a digital clock. Look away. Look again. In the physical, it stays the same. In the astral, numbers change, dance, or become weird symbols. The logical brain is asleep. The astral cannot maintain complex data stability. If you do this and the finger goes through, do not get too excited. If euphoria hits, your heart rate will rise and pull you back. Keep a cold calm. You are an explorer, not a hysterical tourist. Safe, navigation and powers, flying and passing through. Once out, what do? At first, you will feel clumsy as if at the bottom of the sea. Vision may be blurry. To improve vision, give a verbal command. Clarity now. The scene will focus in HD. To move, do not use legs. Use intention. Do not walk. Glide. Look at the place you want to go and feel it coming to you. Want to fly? It's easy but requires faith. If you doubt, you fall. Gravity in the astral is mental. Jump out the window, check reality first, please, and command yourself to rise. Flying in the astral is the most absolute sensation of freedom. Closed walls? Do not open them. Approach the wall. touch its surface. You will feel a slight resistance. Push with confidence, pass through it. If you get stuck, it is because part of your mind believes walls are solid. Remember, this is energy, and you will pass. Fifth, the schools of the night, higher learning. Why do we go out? Just to fly and spy on neighbors. That is for spiritual children. The initiate uses the astral to learn. In the higher astral, there are temples, universities, and libraries where medicine, music, architecture, and universal laws are taught. Many discoveries were first learned in the night schools. Before sleep, program your journey. Tonight I want to visit the Temple of Healing. Tonight I want to understand this math problem. Tonight I want to talk to my guide. Upon exiting, call your guide. Say, "Guide, show yourself." You will see someone appear, follow them. They will take you where you need to go. The teaching there is telepathic and direct download. In 1 hour of astral sleep, you can learn what would take years on Earth. Person encountering the dead. The astral plane is the place where those who have left the physical body reside. For the eye of the soul, there are no dead. There are only people who have moved neighborhoods. If you have a loved one who has passed, the night is the time for reunion. You do not need mediums or Ouija boards, which are dangerous. You can visit them yourself. When you find a dead person in the astral, it will surprise you. They look younger, usually their prime age, 30 to 35. They are healthy and radiant. They are not resting in peace in a dark grave. They are active. They work, study, and help other newcomers. Communication is mind to mind. No misunderstandings. A hug in the astral is more real than a physical hug, because it is a fusion of energies. When you wake up, you will know the difference between dreaming of grandma, blurry image, and visiting grandma. Hyper-real sensation, clear message, deep peace. X. Dangers and ethics, law of cause and effect. Is it dangerous? Can a demon possess me and not let me back? No. The myth of possession is Hollywood cinema. Your physical body is occupied by your silver cord. No one can park in your space while your car has the key in it. The only real danger is fear and exhaustion. If you obsess, you might neglect physical life. Remember, you incarnated here to live here. The astral is recess, not the main classroom. There is an ethic. Do not spy. Do not manipulate. If you go to the astral to spy on an ex or try to have sex without consent, you generate instant karma. In the astral, intentions are visible. You will shine with a dirty light. You will attract entities from the lower astral who will give you a lesson in humility. Always travel with the intention of light, love, and learning. Be a respectful tourist of the cosmos. The final rehearsal, learning to die. Why is this so important? Because one day the silver cord will break for real. One day the doctor will say, time of death. For the sleeping man, that moment is terrifying. He clings to the body, gets confused, enters darkness. For the night traveler, death is a familiar procedure. You will recognize it. You will say, I know this feeling. I've been here 1,000 times. It's time to go. You will not be afraid. You will exit the body with elegance and consciousness. You will see the light and know how to navigate toward it, avoiding the traps of the lower astral. You will greet your guides as old friends. Astral travel is the training for the final exam. He who knows how to leave the body in life knows how to leave the body in death. He has conquered immortality. Chapter 5, The Seven Veils. Man is not a body that has a soul. Man is a spirit that has wrapped itself in layers of matter of different density to interact with worlds of different vibration. Like an onion of light, you must peel the layers to find the center. And in the center, there is nothing, and there is everything. Annie Besant, Ancient Wisdom. There are celestial bodies and there are terrestrial bodies, but the glory of the celestial is one, and the glory of the terrestrial is another. It is sown a natural body. It will rise a spiritual body. There is a natural body, and there is a spiritual body. 1 Corinthians 15:40-44. Stand in front of a full-length mirror. What do you see? You see skin, hair, eyes, clothes. You see a solid form that occupies a space and has a weight. You say, "This is me." The soul's eye corrects you immediately. That is only your heaviest suit. If you had etheric vision activated, you would see something very different. You would see that your physical body is surrounded and penetrated. You would see it penetrated by a luminous mist that protrudes a few centimeters from the skin. If you had astral vision, you would see a cloud of changing colors, red, green, violet, that extends half a meter around you, reacting to every emotion. If you had mental vision, you would see yellow and blue geometric shapes orbiting your head. And if you had causal vision, you would see a lotus of fire in your chest that contains the memory of all your past lives. You are not a monolith. You are a spectrum. Just as white light decomposes into 7 colors when passing through a prism, your spirit decomposes into 7 bodies when descending into matter. The ancient Egyptians called it the 7 Ka. The Hindus call it the koshas, sheaths. The Theosophists call it the septenary constitution. Today we are going to study the engineering of your own soul. We are going to lift, one by one, the 7 veils of Isis. To the veil of flesh, the physical body, and sthula sharira, this is the only one you know well. It is the anchor. It is the vehicle designed to operate in the lowest and densest frequency of the universe, 3D matter. It is made of chemical elements, carbon, water, iron, taken from the earth. It is a wonderful biomachine, but it is the least real of all your parts. Why? Because it is the most ephemeral. Your cells die and are born constantly. In 7 years, you do not have a single identical atom. Your physical body is a river, not a statue. It is the final hardware, where the results of the higher bodies are printed. If the physical body falls ill, it is almost always because a higher body sent an error. It sent an error signal that took time to precipitate into the flesh. Treating only the physical body is like trying to clean the shadow of a stain on the wall without cleaning the real stain that projects it. Ters, the veil of life, the etheric body, pranamaya kosha. Here the invisible begins. Just a few centimeters above your skin and penetrating every organ exists the etheric double. It is the mold or architectural blueprint of the physical body. Before a cell grows, the etheric matrix is already there, telling it where to place itself. If an arm is cut off, you lose the physical arm, but the etheric arm is still there. That is why phantom limb pain exists. The brain continues to receive signals from the etheric nerves that have not been cut. This body is the battery. Its function is to absorb prana, vital energy, from the sun and the earth and distribute it through the physical body via invisible channels. These channels are called nadis, which Chinese acupuncture calls meridians. When you feel low on energy, it is not that you lack calories, physical, it is that your etheric body is dirty, broken, or discharged. Energy vampires do not suck blood, they suck ether. They connect to your spleen or solar plexus and drain your battery. This body dies about 3 days after physical death. It is what is sometimes seen in cemeteries as ghosts or will-o'-the-wisps, etheric shells, slowly decomposing. Thres, the veil of desire, the astral body, kama-rupa. This is the body we use to travel in dreams. Chapter 4. It is the seat of emotions and desires. It has no fixed shape. It is an ovoid cloud of colors in constant movement. If you get angry, it fills with dark red flashes and hook shapes. If you are afraid, it becomes pale gray and gelatinous. If you love, it is tinged with pink and gold. If you are depressed, it is locked in a black cage. Most of humanity lives polarized in this body. They are slaves to their desires and emotional reactions. The astral body is very sticky. It gets stained with the atmosphere of places. If you enter a bar full of drunk people fighting, your astral body gets soaked in that molasses. You come out feeling dirty or irritable without knowing why. Astral hygiene is vital. Cold water showers, which close the aura, incense, high-frequency sounds, and nature. For the veil of the intellect, the lower mental body, kaid manas, above or further inside, the astral, vibrating at a higher speed, is the mental body. It is the seat of concrete thought. Here live geometric forms, logic, mathematics, language, and planning. It looks like a golden yellow light around the head and shoulders. When you are concentrated studying, this body expands and shines. When you are in a state of confusion or stupidity, this body looks opaque and disordered. The problem of modern man is that he has a hypertrophied and rigid mental body. He has created a shell of limiting beliefs. I can't. It's impossible. Life is hard. These thoughts are not air, they are structures of mental matter. They surround your head like a steel helmet. They prevent the light of the higher bodies from entering. To have an open mind, you literally have to break or make these rigid mental structures flexible. V, the bridge, the causal body, Vijnanamaya Kosha. Here we cross a critical border. The four previous bodies, physical, etheric, astral, mental, form the personality. They are mortal. When you die, you lose the physical. After a few days, the etheric dissolves. Over time, in the astral plane, the astral body dissolves. And finally, you shed the mental body. What remains? The causal body remains. This is the vehicle of the immortal soul, the higher ego, not the Freudian ego. It is the repository of the memory of all your lives. It is the permanent hard drive. Everything you learned, all the love you gave, all the wisdom you gained in this life is distilled and stored here. The rest, your neuroses, your fears, your name, is erased. It is called causal because it is the cause of incarnation. From this level, the soul decides, I need to learn patience, so I will create, cause a physical body and a personality prone to anger to overcome that test. Here resides karma. It looks like a lotus or a radiant sun in the center of the chest. Geniuses, great artists and inventors access this body. Abstract intelligence and higher intuition come from here. They do not think sequentially. They know directly. Here see the divine veils, Buddhic and Atmic. Beyond the causal, we enter almost ineffable territory. The Buddhic body, intuition, Christic love. It is the level of unity. Here, the illusion of separation begins to fade. If your consciousness touches this level, you feel universal love. You do not love someone, you are love. It is the state of samadhi or enlightenment. The Atmic body, divine will. It is a spark of pure God. It is the spirit. It is the will to exist. Here, you and the universe are indistinguishable. It is the I am in its maximum power. These bodies are latent in most humans. They are sleeping seeds. The work of the initiate is to awaken consciousness in these planes while still having a physical body. That is being an ascended master or an enlightened being, someone who can use their physical body but whose radio is permanently tuned to the atmic frequency. Versus the mechanics of health, the cascade. Western medicine is mechanistic. It fixes the broken part, physical body. Metaphysical medicine is vibrational. It fixes the distorted signal, subtle bodies. Illness almost always follows a process of precipitation or cascade. Origin, mental causal body. You have a chronic wrong belief. I don't deserve to live, or I hate my father. This is a high-frequency geometric dissonance. Descent, astral body. That belief generates a constant emotion. Sadness, anger, resentment. The astral body becomes stained and darkens in the corresponding area. For example, the liver for anger, the lungs for sadness. Blockage, etheric body. The astral stain blocks the flow. It blocks the flow of prana in the etheric nadis. Energy stops circulating. A jam or a vacuum of vitality is created in the organ. Symptom, physical body. Months or years after the process started above, the cells of the physical liver, deprived of vital energy, begin to mutate or die. The tumor or cirrhosis appears. If you remove the tumor, physical, but do not change the belief, mental, or heal the emotion, astral, the disease will precipitate again. It is called relapse, or it will appear in another organ. True healing, holistic, involves cleaning all bodies simultaneously. The doctor cuts the body, the therapist cleans the mental. Fout, hygiene of the aura, how to clean the veils. Just as you shower every day to clean the physical body, you must clean your subtle bodies. If you don't, you accumulate psychic grime that weighs you down, depresses you, and makes you sick. Cleaning techniques. Salt water. Salt is a crystal that breaks dense static charges. A soak with sea salt cleans the bodies. It cleans the etheric and astral bodies of parasites and energetic larvae. Smoke, smudging, the smoke of sacred plants, sage, Palo Santo, copal, directly affects etheric matter. It dislodges densities, pass it around your body. Sound, as we saw in Chapter 3, mantras, Tibetan bowls, realign the geometry of the subtle bodies. The sun. Solar prana recharges the etheric battery in minutes. Expose yourself to the sun 10 minutes a day consciously, asking for a recharge. Closing the aura, visualization. Before leaving home, visualize an egg of electric blue or golden light around you. Decree. My field is impenetrable to any energy less than love. Cite the evil eye phenomenon, psychic attack. What is the evil eye? It is an attack from the mental astral body of another person toward yours. Envy is a laser beam of dirty, stinging green energy. If someone looks at you with intense hatred or envy, they project that thought form. If your aura is strong, you are healthy and vibrating high, the beam bounces off. It does not touch you. If your aura has holes, due to drugs, alcohol, fear, guilt, or extreme exhaustion, the ray enters. It sticks into your etheric field. You suddenly feel exhausted, with a headache, nausea, or bad luck. It is not superstition, it is energetic ballistics. To cure it, you do not need witchcraft, you need to seal the aura. Raise your vibration. Laughter, singing, and prayer break any attachment. The evil eye only affects those who believe in it, fear, or those who have low vibration. The best protection is innocence and joy. No darkness can penetrate a radiant sun. Chapter 6, The Throne of the Heart, the Toroidal Field. In the center of the castle of the body, there is a small shrine in the form of a lotus, and within it a small space. What exists within that space is what we should long to perceive. As vast as outer space is, so vast is the space within the lotus of the heart. Heaven and earth, fire and air, sun and moon, lightning and stars. Everything that exists and what does not exist, everything is contained in that small space. Chandogya Upanishad 8.1.13. The heart has reasons that reason does not understand, not because it is irrational, but because it operates in a dimension of information to which the brain's linear logic has no access. Blaise Pascal. Put your hand on your chest, feel the beat. Since you were a fetus of a few weeks, even before your brain was formed, this drum has been marking the rhythm of your existence. You have been taught that the heart is a mechanical pump, a piece of biological plumbing whose only function is to push oxygenated blood through the arteries. You have been taught that the boss is the brain. That consciousness lives in the head behind the eyes, and that the body is just the life support for that grey mass. The soul's eye tells you, you have been lied to about your own anatomy. The brain is not the king, it is the prime minister. It is the administrator, the accountant. The true king, the emperor who sits on the throne and dictates reality, is the heart. Modern science, grudgingly, is starting to confirm what mystics knew 5,000 years ago. The heart is an organ of higher intelligence. It does not just feel. It thinks, remembers, and most importantly, generates the most powerful energy field. Today we are going to lower consciousness from the cold attic of the head to the burning sanctuary of the chest. We are going to discover that you live inside a giant invisible energy donut called a torus, and we are going to learn that the only way to escape the mental matrix is to open the door of the secret chamber of the heart. Care the Emperor's physics, magnetic supremacy. Let's talk numbers because metaphysics is precise physics. The HeartMath Institute has measured the electromagnetic fields of the human body. They compared the brain with the heart. The result was devastating for the intellectual ego. The heart's electric field is 60 times stronger than the brain's. The heart's magnetic field is 5,000 times stronger than the brain's. Read it again. 5,000 times more powerful. Your heart's magnetic field does not stay inside your ribs. It radiates outside your body, forming a sphere of influence that can be measured by sensitive magnetometers 3 meters away. This means that your heart is the main antenna of your system. It is the most powerful radio transmitter you possess. When you try to manifest something with the mind, you are using a 9-volt battery, the brain. The signal is weak. When you feel something with the heart, you are using a nuclear power plant. The signal is massive. The universe does not listen to what you think. The universe feels what you vibrate. And your vibration is dictated by the emperor, not the prime minister. The brain translates reality, the heart creates reality. First, the shape of God, the torus. What shape does this magnetic field have? It is not a perfect sphere, it is a torus. Imagine a donut, or an apple. The energy sprouts from the center of the heart, rises through the crown, fans out surrounding the body, goes down below the feet, and re-enters through the perineum toward the heart. It is a continuous feedback cycle, a self-sustaining system. The torus is the fundamental shape of energy flow in the universe. The Earth's magnetic field is a torus. The Sun's magnetic field is a torus. The Milky Way is a torus. An atom is a torus. And you are a torus. As above, so below. This toroidal field is your shield and your sensor. You are literally walking inside a bubble of living information. Everything around you passes through your torus before touching your skin. If your toroidal field is strong and coherent, you repel negativity, viruses, and bad luck like an umbrella repels rain. If your toroidal field is broken, distorted, or weak, due to stress, fear, or pain, you are vulnerable. Spiritual health is not an abstract idea. It is the geometric integrity of your torus. Keeping the flow clean and powerful is the key to immunity and charisma. 3. The little brain, neurocardiology. For centuries, we believed the heart was just muscle. In 1991, something was discovered that changed medicine. The heart has its own intrinsic nervous system. It has approximately 40,000 sensory neurons. It is called the little brain of the heart. These neurons do not just regulate the heartbeat, they have memory. They process information and make decisions independently of the cranial brain. The heart produces hormones. It produces oxytocin, the love hormone, in industrial quantities when you are at peace. But the most shocking thing is that the heart sends more information to the brain than the brain to the heart. The ascending nerve pathways, heart to head, are much more numerous than the descending ones. The heart is constantly telling the brain how it should perceive the world. If the heart beats in a pattern of fear, it sends a signal, danger. Turn off the prefrontal cortex, intelligence, and turn on the reptile brain, attack, flight. You become stupid, reactive, and aggressive. If the heart beats in a pattern of peace, it sends the signal, everything is fine, turn on higher functions. You become a genius, creative, and empathetic. You cannot think your way to peace. You have to feel your way to peace so that the brain can think clearly. IV, the state of coherence, synchronization. Here we reach the master technique, heart coherence. Normally the heart and brain function out of sync. You're in a traffic jam. Your brain thinks about tomorrow's meeting, future anxiety, while your heart feels frustration, present, stress. The torus becomes chaotic. The signal you emit to the Akasha is noise. Coherence is the state in which the heart, brain, and nervous system align in phase. It is like an orchestra that suddenly plays in unison. The heart rate pattern becomes a perfect sinusoidal wave, smooth and harmonic. How is it achieved? Not with the intellect, but with induced emotion. Quick coherence practice. 1. Focus. Bring your physical attention to the center of the chest. 2. Breathing. Imagine you breathe through the heart. Inhale for 5 seconds, exhale for 5 seconds, slow and deep. 3. Feeling. Evoke a high-frequency emotion. Do not think it, feel it. Recall love or gratitude, feel the warmth. In 60 seconds of doing this, your magnetic field changes shape. It goes from being a chaotic scribble to being a harmonic and expansive torus. Your voltage rises. Your intuition skyrockets. You become magnetic. Entering coherence is the difference between being a reactive human and being a conscious creator. V. The sacred space, the secret chamber. The Upanishads speak of a small space within the heart's lotus where the entire universe resides. Drunvalo Melchizedek and modern mystics talk about the sacred space of the heart. It is not a metaphor. There is a focal point of consciousness within the heart's energy structure. It is a wormhole, a stargate. It is the 0 point of the torus. Most people have their assemblage point, perceptual center, behind the eyes in the pineal gland. They live in the head. From there they judge good, bad, past, future, me, them. The head is a duality machine. The initiate learns to move their consciousness. Literally, they learn to take the elevator down from the head, pass through the throat and enter the chest. When you manage to center your consciousness within the heart, the world changes. Duality disappears. The heart does not judge. The heart does not say this is bad. The heart says this is. The heart says, the heart lives in the eternal now. In the secret chamber of the heart there is absolute silence. There are no mental voices. It is the eye of the hurricane. From this place you can access the Akashic records without distortion. You can talk to God. He who lives in the head lives in time. He who lives in the heart lives in eternity. First, intuition versus instinct, knowing before seeing. There is a common confusion between hunch, intuition, and instinct, gut, solar plexus. 1. Instinct, solar plexus, is visceral. It is fear or desire. It is useful for surviving, but it is reactive and sometimes wrong due to trauma. 2. Intuition, heart, is silent, fast, and neutral. It is an instant knowing. The heart has precognitive capacity. In laboratory experiments, people were shown random images, some relaxing, flowers, and others disturbing, accidents. Sensors showed that the heart reacted, speeding up or slowing down, up to 4 seconds before the image appeared on the screen. The brain didn't know, the heart did. How is this possible? Because the heart's toroidal field connects with the Akasha, where time is spherical. The heart touches the future because the future is already in the field. If you learn to listen to the heart's subtle voice before the brain's scream, you will never make a bad decision. Seasa, the immune shield, protection. We live in a sea of radiation. Wi-Fi, 5G, human negativity, collective stress. All of this hits your energy field. If you live in fear, head, your torus contracts. You become dense. Radiation penetrates you. If you live in love, appreciation, heart, your torus expands. An expanded field acts like a deflector shield. High vibration disintegrates low vibration on contact. Love is not being good. Love is a frequency of high amplitude and high coherence. Biologically, the state of unconditional love or gratitude triggers the production of IgA, immunoglobulin A, the first line of defense against viruses and bacteria. Fear and anger turn off the immune system for 6 hours. Love activates it. The best vaccine, the best protection against the evil eye, and the best defense against energy vampirism is to keep the heart open and radiant. A closed heart thinks it's protected, but it's rotting. An open heart is invulnerable. Fight, thinking with the heart, the fusion. The final goal of the soul's eye is not to discard the brain. The brain is a magnificent tool. The goal is to unite the head and the heart. The Egyptians believed true intelligence resided in the heart. They spoke of the intelligence of the heart. When the brain submits to the heart, it becomes a brilliant servant. The heart says the what and the why, purpose, vision, love. The brain executes the how, strategy, logic, steps. The current problem is that we have the brain deciding the what, based on fear, ego, and greed, and the heart muzzled in the basement. The result is a world spiritually dead. Gnosis or enlightenment occurs when the heart's fire rises and ignites the pineal light in the head. A single circuit is created. There is no longer conflict between what I feel and what I think. You feel and think in unison. Your thoughts are bathed in love. Your emotions are illuminated by wisdom. Cymatics, the global heart, the planetary network. Your torus is not isolated. It is connected to the Earth's torus. And the Earth's torus connects all living beings. The HeartMath Institute has a project called the Global Coherence Initiative. They have discovered that when a massive event generates synchronized emotion in humanity, the Earth's magnetic field changes. Our hearts, beating together, affect the planet's magnetic shield. This gives us a terrifying and wonderful power. If enough people, the critical mass, enter heart coherence at the same time, focusing on peace, global violence decreases. Accidents go down. War stops. It is not poetry. It is field induction. You are a node in the network. Your responsibility is not just to be well for yourself. Your responsibility is to keep your heart coherent, to stabilize the planetary network. When you heal your heart, you help heal the world's arrhythmia. You are a pacemaker for humanity. Chapter 7. The Crystal Gland, the Pineal and the Third Eye. The light of the body is the eye. If therefore thine eye be single, thy whole body shall be full of light. Matthew 6:22. There is an organ in the brain that, if awakened, allows man to see what is hidden from physical eyes. Ancient ones called it the third eye. Science calls it the pineal gland. But it is not just a gland. It is a crystalline stargate, a biological transducer capable of picking up frequencies from higher dimensions. While it sleeps, you are human. When it wakes up, you remember that you are infinite. Rosicrucian teachings. Deep in your skull, protected by a bony cave, rests a small pea-sized organ. It is shaped like a pine cone, hence its name pineal. For centuries, Western medicine dismissed it as a vestigial organ, a useless evolutionary residue, the appendix of the brain. They were dead wrong. René Descartes, the father of modern philosophy, identified it as the seat of the soul. He was obsessed with finding the meeting point between matter and spirit. Ancient Egyptians revered it as the eye of Horus. If you cut a human brain in half, the cross-section where the pineal, thalamus, and corpus callosum are located is identical, anatomically exact, to the Eye of Horus hieroglyph. In the Vatican, in the court of the pine cone, there is a giant bronze statue of a pine cone flanked by peacocks. In the staves of Sumerian gods, in the thyrsus of Dionysus, on the head of Buddha, the knotted hairstyle, the pine cone always appears. Why were all ancient civilizations obsessed with an endocrine gland? Because they knew what we have forgotten. You are not limited to your five senses. You have a sixth sense, a single eye capable of seeing inward and outward of time. But this eye is closed. It is calcified. It is asleep. Today we will study the crystal gland. We will understand why tap water and modern toothpaste are weapons. They are weapons of spiritual warfare designed to blind you. We will learn how you can clean the lens to see reality as it truly is. Infinite. I, the primitive eye, sacred biology. Biologically, the pineal gland is not just a piece of tissue. It is literally an atrophied eye. Upon dissecting it, scientists have found that its interior is lined with photoreceptor tissue, rods and cones, just like the retina of your physical eyes. It is connected directly to the optic nerves. But it is in the middle of the brain, in total darkness. Why does a gland in the dark need to see? Because it is not designed to see photons of sunlight, it is designed to see photons of spiritual light. It is a photoreceptor of higher dimensions. When you close your physical eyes and visualize an apple, where do you see it? It is not on your eyelids, it is on your mental screen. That screen is the pineal. It is the monitor where your consciousness projects data from the Akasha, dreams, and imagination. Without the pineal, we would be biological robots unable to imagine, dream, or have mystical experiences. We would be pure computational logic. 2. The crystals of time, piezoelectricity. At the end of the 20th century, a discovery shook the esoteric scientific community. Inside the pineal gland, floating in the cerebral water, there are microcrystals. They are rhombohedral calcite crystals, less than 20 microns long. They are called brain sand, a curvulus cerebri. What are crystals doing in your brain? These crystals have piezoelectric properties. Piezoelectricity is the ability of certain crystals, like the quartz in your watch or computer, to generate electricity when mechanical pressure is applied, and vice versa. They are transducers. They transform mechanical vibration into an electrical signal. This means your pineal gland is a crystalline radio antenna. It is capable of picking up external electromagnetic fields, cosmic frequencies, vibrations from others, waves from the quantum field, and translating them into images and sounds inside your brain. When the ancients said they received visions, it was not a metaphor. Their antenna was clean and tuned. They picked up a long-wave signal from the universe, and their brain converted it into a high-definition holographic movie. You have the same equipment installed from the factory. The problem is that your antenna is full of scale and static. Third, the chemistry of enlightenment, melatonin and DMT. The pineal is the queen of cycles. It regulates your biological clock, circadian rhythm. When there is sunlight, it produces serotonin, the hormone of well-being, wakefulness, of being here and now in the 3D world. When darkness arrives, the pineal stops producing serotonin and begins to convert it into melatonin. Melatonin is the hormone of sleep, regeneration, and the start of the dream journey. But there is a third step, an alchemical secret. When darkness is total and prolonged, or when a state of deep meditation is reached, or at the moment of death, the pineal performs one last chemical transformation. It methylates melatonin and produces a molecule called dimethyltryptamine, DMT. Rick Strassman, a medical researcher, called it the spirit molecule. DMT is the most potent psychedelic known to man, and your body produces it naturally. It is the chemical key that opens the lock of the matrix. When the brain is bathed in endogenous DMT, the veil of 3D reality is torn. Suddenly you see sacred geometry. You see beings of light. You feel unity with the all. Time collapses. You are not hallucinating. You are perceiving what was always there, but what your brain filtered out so you could survive in daily life. The pineal is the reality dispenser. If it releases little DMT, you see the physical world as boring and solid. If it releases a lot, you see the kingdom of heaven. If the great sabotage, calcification, if we possess this gate to heaven, why do we live in the hell of ignorance? Because our pineal is calcified. Since childhood, the gland begins to accumulate calcium phosphate deposits. A hard crust forms around the piezoelectric crystals. The antenna is covered in cement. It stops vibrating, it stops receiving a signal. You become deaf and blind to the spirit. You only believe in what you touch, materialism. What causes this? It is not natural. It is environmental and dietary. Public enemy number 1 is fluoride. Sodium fluoride, in tap water and toothpaste, is magnetically attracted to the pineal more than any other organ. Fluoride turns soft crystalline tissue into stone. Literally, it turns you into stone inside. Add to this synthetic calcium, processed food, refined sugar, pesticides, and above all, the blue light of screens. The blue light from your phone at 11 p.m. screams to your pineal, "It's noon." The gland gets confused, stops melatonin production, and atrophies. We live in a society designed to calcify consciousness. A people without a third eye is a docile people, easy to govern, disconnected from their divine power. The return of vision, decalcification. The good news is that the process is reversible. You can break the shell and release the genie from the lamp, but it requires Spartan discipline. 1. Filter your water, eliminate fluoride and heavy metals. 2. Solar diet, eat foods that have absorbed direct sunlight, chlorophyll, spirulina, chlorella, raw cacao. These foods have high vibration and help chelate metals. 3. Supplements. Nascent iodine, boron, and oregano oil help dissolve calcification. 4. Darkness. Sleep in absolute darkness. Not even a standby LED. Use a mask. 5. Sun gazing. An ancient practice, only in the first hour of sunrise or last of sunset. Direct sunlight entering through the retina stimulates the pineal and recharges it. Is the sacred pressure, mechanical activation. Cleaning the gland is step 1. Turning it on is step 2. Remember the piezoelectric crystals? They need pressure to generate light. How do you press a gland in the center of the brain? Using cerebrospinal fluid. This fluid bathes your brain and your spinal cord. When you breathe rhythmically and apply certain muscular contractions, known in yoga as Mula Bandha, you pump this fluid upward through the spine toward the brain. Upon reaching the top, the fluid hits the pineal. The mechanical pressure compresses the crystals. Spark. A bioluminescence effect is produced. The gland literally lights up inside like a light bulb. This is felt physically. You feel intense pressure between the eyebrows, sometimes a pop or internal click, followed by a blinding white light that floods your internal vision, even with eyes closed. It is the flash of enlightenment. You have turned on the projector. Seventh, the cave of Brahma, darkness meditation. Ancient yogis and Taoist monks spent days, weeks, or months in totally dark caves. Why? It was not penance, it was technology. It is called darkness therapy. When the brain is deprived of external light for more than 3 days, brain chemistry changes drastically. Melatonin stores saturate. The brain begins to synthesize pinoline and 5-MeO-DMT. The mental screen turns on. You begin to see with eyes open in total darkness. You do not see the cave. You see hyperspace. You see your own light body. You see the past and the future. The cave forces the pineal to open to the maximum. It is a retreat of forced activation. You do not need a cave in the Himalayas. You can do it in your house with a total quality mask and silence, although deep effects require days. Voit, the hum of the bee, sound and resonance. There is a specific frequency that makes the pineal vibrate. Ancient Egyptians and Hindus used the hum of the bee, Brahmari pranayama. It consists of covering the ears and eyes with the fingers, inhaling, and as you exhale, making a deep sound, like a bee, making the skull resonate. This physical vibration massages the gland. It breaks calcifications through sonic resonance, just as an opera singer breaks a crystal glass, and it stimulates the secretion of nectar, amrita. There are also binaural frequencies and isochronic tones, especially in the gamma range, 40 Hz and higher. These synchronize the brain hemispheres and focus energy on the third eye. Using headphones with these frequencies while you meditate is like putting a turbo on your practice. Seeing versus imagining, the crucial difference. Here we must make a vital distinction so as not to fall into fantasy. Many believe that opening the third eye is simply having a lot of imagination. No. 1. Imagining. You create the image. You decide that a red dragon appears. It is a projective mental effort. It comes from the ego. Seeing vision. The image appears on its own. You are the passive witness, you do not control it. It has a holographic quality, hyper-real, with colors that do not exist in the physical spectrum. It comes from the soul. When the third eye truly opens, information arrives in complete packets, Gnosis. You look at a person and you don't imagine their aura. You see it or feel it with visual certainty. You see their geometry. You see their intention. You cannot unsee it. It is an objective perception of a subtle reality. Imagination is the training. Vision is the result. The sacred marriage, pineal and pituitary. The pineal does not work alone, it has a partner, the pituitary gland, hypophysis. The pineal is the father, electrical, masculine, light transmitter. The pituitary is the mother, magnetic, feminine, water receiver. They are separate in the brain, but connected energetically. When energy rises through the spine and enters the skull, it creates a voltaic arc between both glands. A light circuit is formed, a luminous triangle inside the head. This is the mystical marriage. From the union of these two polarities in the brain, the divine Son is born, Christ consciousness. Physiologically, it is said that the pituitary secretes a milky substance and the pineal a golden, oily substance. When they mix and go down the throat, it is known as the manna, or the milk and honey of the promised land, your enlightened body. The danger of kicking the door open. A serious warning, do not force the third eye. Many people take ayahuasca, bufo, or synthetic DMT seeking to open the eye at once without having cleaned their lower bodies, emotional and mental. This is like putting 20,000 volts into a 60-watt bulb. The bulb explodes. You can have a spiritual emergency. You can see things you are not prepared for, the lower astral, your own projected demons, and be traumatized or unbalanced, mystical psychosis. The eye must open organically, like a flower. It must open when the heart is already strong. If you open the eye, mental power, without opening the heart, love, compassion, you become a black magician, a being of high intellect and psychic power, but cold and manipulative. The safe path is, first clean the body, then balance emotions, then awaken the heart and finally allow vision to ignite. Vision. Chapter 8. The Alphabet of Symbols, Intuition versus Reason. The soul never thinks without an image. Aristotle. Symbols are the language of the unconscious, the language of dreams, and the language of God. The word table is a utilitarian label, but the image of a table can be an altar, a banquet, a negotiation, or a sacrifice. Reason sees the label, intuition sees the story and the power. Imagine you travel to a distant country. You don't speak the language, you don't understand the signs. People talk to you, but you only hear noise. You feel isolated, confused, and scared. Suddenly, you see a traffic sign, a red circle with a horizontal white line. You immediately understand, do not enter. You see a drawing of a fork and a knife. You immediately understand food. You see a cross on a building. You immediately understand spirituality, religion. You didn't need words. You didn't need grammar. You didn't need to analyze. The understanding was instantaneous, direct, and universal. Welcome to the language of symbols. The universe, your soul, and the higher planes do not speak Spanish, English, or Chinese. Those are human, linear languages invented by the left hemisphere of the brain to catalog three-dimensional reality. They are slow, they are limited, they are boxes. The universe speaks in holographic images. An image is worth 1,000 words because an image is a compressed data packet. A symbol contains emotional, mental, historical, and spiritual information, all wrapped in a single glyph. If you want to communicate with your soul, your guides, or cosmic intelligence, you must stop praying with words and start communicating with symbols. You must stop thinking sequentially, reason, and start perceiving holistically, intuition. Today, we are going to learn the alphabet of the gods. Either two processors, the tortoise and the hare. Your brain has two distinct operating systems. 1. Reason, left hemisphere, concrete mind. It is linear. It processes information step by step. A leads to B, B leads to C. It is analytical. It breaks things into parts to understand them. It is the realm of logic, time, and language. It is slow but precise for physical survival. Intuition, right hemisphere, abstract mind. It is holistic. It processes information in parallel, sees the whole picture at once. It is synthetic. It joins parts to see the whole. It is the realm of art, dreams, symbols, and emotion. It is instantaneous, speed of light. Modern education has overdeveloped the left side, reason. It has atrophied the right side, intuition. We have been taught to trust only what we can explain with logical words. If you have a hunch, but no logical data to back it up, you are taught to ignore it. That is spiritual suicide. Reason is a map. Intuition is the territory. The map is useful, but it is not the terrain. Reason tells you, this street is safe according to statistics. Intuition tells you, don't go in there. There is an energy of danger today. The soul's eye operates exclusively through symbolic intuition. Toe the zip file, the density of the symbol. Why does the spirit use symbols? For efficiency. Imagine you want to explain to someone what maternal love is. With words, reason, you would need to write an entire book. Biology, hormones, sacrifice, protection, history, psychology. With a symbol, intuition, you only need to show the image of the virgin and child. In a fraction of a second, the mind captures the totality of the concept. It feels the tenderness, the protection, the divinity, the sacrifice. The symbol decompresses the file in your consciousness instantaneously. Dreams are strange and symbolic for this reason. In the astral plane, communication is telepathic and visual. If you dream of a house collapsing, your soul is sending you a full report on your psychological structure or family life. If the soul told you in words, hey, you are neglecting your emotional foundations and your belief system is obsolete, your rational ego would start to argue, that's not true, I'm fine, I'm just tired. But if the soul shows you the house falling, the image hits you. You wake up scared, the emotion penetrates the ego's defenses. The symbol is a Trojan horse that gets the truth into your system by bypassing the barriers of logic. 3. The language of the night, decoding dreams. Most people ignore their dreams or consult cheap dictionaries. Dreaming of teeth means death. This is absurd. Symbols are personal and archetypal at the same time. To learn the alphabet, you must study your own nights. Golden rule, don't ask yourself, what does this mean? Ask yourself, what did I feel and what function does it serve? If you dream of a dog, for a person who loves animals, the dog is a symbol of loyalty and friendship. For a person who was bitten as a child, the dog is a symbol of threat and aggression. The symbol is neutral. Your emotional charge gives it meaning. When you wake up, do not analyze the plot. Analyze the atmosphere. Was it an oppressive environment? Luminous, nostalgic? That background feeling is the real message from the Akasha. If you dream you miss the train, it doesn't literally mean you will miss transport. It symbolizes a life opportunity you feel is slipping away. Your soul is telling you, speed up, make a decision, time is running out. Learn to read the poetry of your subconscious. It is your best therapist and it is free. Phi synchronicity, the waking dream. Carl Jung coined the term synchronicity to describe meaningful coincidences. You are thinking about Aunt Martha and the phone rings. It's Aunt Martha. You are worried about money and you find a bill on the floor or see a sign that says, abundance is coming. You see the number 1111 on the clock every day for a month. To reason, this is statistical chance. To the soul's eye, this is the universe winking at you. Synchronicity is proof that the physical world and the psychic world are not separate. They are two sides of the same coin. When your internal vibration changes, the external world reorganizes to reflect that change. The real world is, at heart, a collective dream. It works just like a nightly dream, only it is denser and slower. When you see repeating numbers, 1111, 333, 444, it's not magic. It is a sign of alignment. It's like seeing the runway lights aligned. It means you are in the flow, your attention is synchronized with the present. Keep it up. If you see repeated obstacles, red lights, lost keys, things breaking, it is a sign of misalignment. The universe is symbolically screaming at you, stop, you are forcing it, you are going in the wrong direction or with the wrong rhythm. The master reads reality as a sacred text. He looks for the open windows synchronicity points out. The archetypes, the eternal characters. Within the Akasha library and in the collective unconscious of humanity, there are energy molds called archetypes. They are the eternal characters that live in our psyche. The hero, the mother, the sage, the trickster, the shadow, the lover. They are not people. They are universal functions. You are acting out one or more of these archetypes right now. If you are in a phase of struggle, improvement, and conquest, you are possessed by the hero archetype. If you are caring, nurturing, and protecting, you are channeling the mother. If you are breaking rules, making jokes, and creating creative chaos, you are the trickster. The problem arises when the archetype possesses you unconsciously. If the warrior archetype possesses you and you don't know it, you will see enemies everywhere. You will fight with your boss, your partner, and your neighbor. Your life will be a constant war because you have the warrior's glasses on. The soul's eye allows you to see the archetype. Ah, look, I'm playing the martyr role again, how interesting. I'm going to change roles. Knowing archetypal symbols gives you freedom. You stop being a puppet of the myth and become the narrator of your own story. Fusio Tarot and Oracles, Mirrors of the Soul. Here we enter swampy territory for skeptics. How can a deck of cardboard cards tell me anything about my life? Tarot is not fortune-telling. You're going to marry a dark-haired man. That is fairground charlatanism. Tarot is a book of symbols. It is a complete map of the soul's journey, the fool's journey. The 22 major arcana represent the 22 stages of human consciousness, from birth, the fool, to enlightenment, the world. When you shuffle the cards, you enter into connection with your subconscious through the muscular synchronicity of your hands. You draw a card at random. There is no chance. You draw the card that vibrationally resonates with your current state. The card is a mirror. If you draw the tower, a tower struck by lightning, people falling, the image hits you. It does not predict your house will fall. It symbolizes that a false structure in your life is going to collapse suddenly to set you free. The oracle doesn't tell you anything new. It brings to light what you already knew in the dark. It is a tool for hacking communication between the conscious and the subconscious. Use it with respect, not to predict the future, but to understand the present. Cert, the body as a symbol, psychosomatics. Your body is the densest and most honest symbol of all. The body never lies. The mind can rationalize, I'm fine, I like my job, I love my partner. But if you have chronic gastritis, back pain, and migraines, the body is screaming, lie! Each part of the body has a metaphysical symbolic meaning. Feet, legs, your ability to move forward in life. Fear of the future usually manifests here. 2. Knees, flexibility and pride, kneeling. Knee problems often indicate a rigid ego that doesn't want to yield. 3. Lower back, material financial support, fear of lack of money. 4. Upper back shoulders, burdens and responsibilities. Throat, expression of truth and creativity. Sore throat or loss of voice is usually things I kept quiet or unexpressed rage. 6. Stomach, ability to digest reality. What you cannot swallow or assimilate gives you acidity. When you fall ill, before running to the pharmacy, do the symbolic detective work. Ask yourself, what does this illness prevent me from doing? What does this illness force me to do? If you break a leg and have to be in bed for a month, the symbol is clear. Stop. You have been running in the wrong direction or too fast. Life has forced you to slow down because you didn't listen to the subtle signs. Be grateful to the symptom. It is the messenger. Read the message and the symptom will often disappear because it has already fulfilled its function of warning you. Firstly, the power of ritual, symbolic action. Reason communicates with words. The unconscious communicates with symbolic acts, rituals. If you want to change a deep belief, it is not enough to think differently. You have to do something that impresses your subconscious. A ritual is not witchcraft. It is psychodrama. It is sacred theater for your inner child. If you want to close a cycle with an ex-partner, reason, it's over, I'm going to forget it. Infective. Ritual, you write a letter with everything you feel. You go to a river. You burn the letter. You throw the ashes into the water. You bathe in the river, visualizing you are being cleansed. Highly effective. Why? Because you have spoken the language of the subconscious. You have used fire, transformation, water, cleansing, and physical action. The subconscious sees the act and says, understood, it's over, the file has been burned and cleaned. The feeling of liberation is real and biological. Create your own rituals. Cut your hair when you want an identity change. Clean your house thoroughly when you want to tidy your mind. Bury a symbolic object of a habit you want to leave. Do not underestimate the power of symbolic action. It is the lever that moves the deep psyche. The art of the soft gaze, how to read. How do we develop this symbolic vision in daily life? You must practice shifting focus. Normally we use the hard gaze, focused, analytical. We look to identify objects, read prices, avoid cars. You must practice the soft gaze, peripheral symbolic. You look without focusing on anything specific. Example, you are in a business meeting and feel something is wrong. Hard gaze. You analyze the words of the contract, the numbers. Soft gaze. You stop analyzing. You feel the room. You observe body language as a dance. Suddenly, you see the client touches their nose every time they mention the price. Your intuition sends you a symbol, smoke or snake. You don't know why, but you know they are lying to you. You listen to the intuition, investigate further, and discover the fraud. The soft gaze is a state of receptivity. It is to stop hunting the truth and allow the truth to be revealed. It is walking through nature and letting a tree talk to you, not with words, but by transmitting its quality of patience and grounding. It is seeing a bird flying and feeling the freedom in your own chest. The world stops being a collection of dead objects and becomes a living book talking to you about yourself. Chapter 9. The Merkabah, the light body. And I looked, and behold, a whirlwind came out of the north, a great cloud, and a fire enfolding itself, and a brightness was about it, and out of the midst thereof as the color of amber. And I saw wheels, and the appearance of the wheels, and their work was like unto a wheel in the middle of a wheel. Ezekiel 1:4-16. The human body is only the chrysalis. The soul is the butterfly. But the butterfly needs wings to fly between dimensions. Those wings are not made of feathers. They are made of rotating geometric light. The Merkabah is the chariot of fire that Elijah used to ascend to heaven without knowing death. Teachings of Thoth. Until now we have been cleaning the windows and tuning the engine of your biological vehicle. We have cleaned your subtle bodies, Chapter 5, ignited the heart reactor, Chapter 6, and activated the pineal radar, Chapter 7. Now, traveler, you are ready to know the truth about the entire car. Your physical body is not designed to stay here forever. Your destiny is not to be born, grow old, get sick, die, and rot under a tombstone. That is the cycle of the sleeping human. The cycle of the awakened human, or Homo luminous, is very different. You possess an interdimensional vehicle of unimaginable power. It is inactive and folded around your physical body, like an unopened parachute. It is a crystalline structure of light. It has a precise geometric shape, a star tetrahedron. When this vehicle is activated through breathing, geometry, and unconditional love, it begins to rotate. It creates a counter-rotating energy field 17 meters in diameter. This field has the capacity to defy gravity, alter time, and transport consciousness and the physical body through dimensions. Its ancient name is Merkabah. Today we are going to learn how to turn on the starship. The etymology of power, light, spirit, body. The word Merkabah or Merkava appears in Jewish mysticism, Kabbalah, as the chariot or throne of God. It is the vehicle that mystics use to ascend to the heavenly palaces, Hekalot. But its origin is much older. It comes from ancient Egypt, from the mystery school of the Eye of Horus. It is composed of 3 sacred syllables. Mer means light. It refers to 2 fields of light rotating in opposite directions in the same space. Ka means spirit. It is the individualized part of the divine consciousness, your soul. Ba means body or reality. It is the way the spirit interprets reality. Together, Merkabah means the spirit and the body surrounded by counter-rotating fields of light. It is the vehicle that unites heaven, Ka, and earth, Bia, through light, Mer. Without an active Merkabah, you are a spirit trapped in a heavy body. With an active Merkabah, you are a spirit driving a light body. The difference is freedom. The prisoner is in the cell. The guard has the key to the cell. You must be the guard. The geometry of the ship, star tetrahedron. What shape does this field have? Visualize Leonardo da Vinci's Vitruvian Man. Now imagine it in 3D. Around your physical body, there is a tetrahedron, triangular-based pyramid that points upward toward the sun. This is the solar tetrahedron, masculine, electrical. And interlaced with it, there is another tetrahedron that points downward toward the earth. This is the terrestrial tetrahedron, feminine, magnetic. The intersection of these 2 pyramids forms a 3-dimensional Star of David, or star tetrahedron. It is a perfect balance of polarities. The upper vertex is 1 hand above your head. The lower vertex is 1 hand below your feet. You are sitting or standing in the exact center. This structure is not imaginary. It is real on the etheric and electromagnetic plane. If you took an advanced Kirlian photo of an enlightened being, you would see this star shining. In most people, this star is static and asleep. It is like having a Ferrari in the garage without gasoline. The geometry is there, but there is no force field. 3. The mechanics of the spin, counter-rotation. To activate the Merkabah, the fields must spin. But here is the technical secret. They must spin in opposite directions. The solar tetrahedron, electrical, must spin to the left. The terrestrial tetrahedron, magnetic, must spin to the right. Why? Because the counter-rotation creates a vortex. Think of a tornado or a jet engine. The friction of these 2 fields of light spinning at speeds close to the speed of light, 0.9 c, creates a distortion in the fabric of space-time. A sphere of energy is generated around the star. This sphere is a shield and a vehicle. Within the sphere, the laws of 3D physics cease to apply. Gravity is neutralized. Aging stops. When the Merkabah is on and stable, an energy disk forms that extends 18 meters around you. Great masters did not need metal spaceships. They were the ship. External technology, rockets, planes, is just a clumsy attempt by human beings to imitate the internal technology they forgot how to use. For the forbidden fuel, unconditional love, here comes the system safeguard. You might ask, if this technology is so powerful, why don't military or tyrants use it to conquer the universe? Because the Merkabah has an infallible biometric security system. It only works with unconditional love. Love is not a cheesy emotion. It is a high-frequency vibration. It is the oil that allows the tetrahedrons to spin at the speed of light without disintegrating due to centrifugal force. If you try to activate the Merkabah with fear, hate, or ego, the friction will destroy the field before it forms. Or worse, it will collapse inward, creating a personal black hole. Only those who have opened the heart chakra, chapter 6, and live in a state of love for all life can start the engine. Dark Lords may have great mental power, but they cannot leave this 3D, 4D dimension because they lack the fuel necessary to cross the great void. They are trapped in the gravity of their own ego. Love is the only escape route. Therefore, spiritual ethics is not a moral imposition. It is a technical requirement of aerospace engineering. V-spherical breathing, prana. How is the ignition connected? Through breathing. Most humans breathe only to oxygenate the blood, chemical survival. The initiate breathes to move prana, vital energy. Prana flows through a tube of light that runs through the center of your body, from the upper vertex to the lower vertex. This is the pranic tube. The activation technique involves D1. Visualizing the tetrahedrons around the body. 2. Synchronizing breathing with specific mudras and colors. 3. Making prana enter from above and below simultaneously, meeting in the navel or heart. 4. Creating a sphere of light around the body. 5. Mentally commanding the spin. At first, it is an exercise in active imagination. But with practice, you physically feel the spin. You feel the room heat up. You feel your body become light. You feel an electric vibration running through your spine. The engine has started. Try Ascension versus Resurrection, leaving with the suit on. Religion has sold us the idea of the resurrection of the flesh at the end of time. Metaphysics speaks to us of ascension. Normal death involves leaving the physical body and exiting with the astral body, chapter 4. Then you reincarnate again in another baby's body. It is the wheel of samsara. Ascension is different. It is the ability to take the physical body with you. How? By transmuting matter. By spinning the Merkabah at high speed, the vibration frequency of your atoms accelerates. Your cells stop being carbon-based, dense, 666, and start mutating toward a silicon crystal base. You become invisible to the 3D eye. You disappear from this plane. You have not died. You have not left a corpse. You have simply changed radio stations. You have moved to the 5th dimension. This is what Elijah, Enoch, Jesus, Mary, and many Taoist masters, the rainbow body, did. They emptied the tomb. Ascension is the final goal of human evolution on Earth. It is graduating from school. There's total immunity, the programming. Even if you do not plan to ascend tomorrow, having an active Merkabah has immense benefits in your 3D daily life. The Merkabah is a programmable quantum computer. You can give it orders. Protection programming. You can decree, Merkabah, create a shield of discrimination. Only love and truth may enter. This is absolute protection. Viruses, 5G radiation, witchcraft, emotional negativity, nothing can touch you. You are untouchable within your star. Manifestation programming. The Merkabah amplifies your intention. If you sit within your active field and visualize a goal, the geometry acts like a magnifying lens. The signal you send to the universe is coherent and laser-like. Manifestation accelerates dramatically. Be careful what you ask for within the Merkabah because you will have it very fast. Fake it. The 2012 shift and the planetary grid. Why is this talked about so much now? Because Earth itself has a Merkabah. Our planet is a living being, Gaia. Around the Earth, there are geometric energy grids. Previously, the predominant grid was icosahedral, but it was dirty or damaged by millennia of wars and suffering. Since the 2012 cosmic cycle, Earth activated its own light body to move to the 4th, 5th dimension. It is what we call the shift, or the new Earth. Humans who activate their personal Merkabah act as anchor nodes for the new planetary grid. You help Earth stabilize. You are an antenna that brings down the new cosmic frequency and nails it into the ground. That is why you feel so much pressure or strange symptoms, Ascension flu. Your body is rewiring itself to handle more voltage. You are not sick. You are mutating. Decalcification powers, side effects. In the yogic tradition, one speaks of siddhis, supernatural powers. Levitation, telepathy, bilocation, materialization. These are not miracles, they are side effects of an active Merkabah. Levitation. The counter-rotating field creates anti-gravity. You are neutralizing the mass of your body. Telepathy. The Merkabah connects to the universal mental network. You no longer need to speak, you transmit data packets. Instant healing. By laying on hands with the active field, you reorder the sick person's geometry almost instantly. But the master does not seek powers. If you seek powers for ego, look at me fly, the fuel of love is cut and the Merkabah turns off. Powers are tools, not ends. The end is freedom and service. The great forgetting and great remembering Atlantis. It is said that in the time of Atlantis, we all knew how to use the Merkabah. It was natural, like breathing. But we abused the technology. We tried to use the Merkabah to control others and open portals to the lower astral. The result was the fall of consciousness. The Merkabah turned off. We fell into density. We forgot who we were. We began to be born and die without memory. We became spiritual cavemen, surrounded by high-tech ruins we no longer knew how to turn on. Now, 13,000 years later, we are at the point in the cycle where we can remember. You are not learning anything new in this book. You are remembering. Your DNA knows how to do this. Your energy field is designed for this. You only need to remove the rust of fear and turn the key again. Chapter 10, Gnosis, Knowledge Without Books. There are two types of knowledge. One is acquired through study, reading, and listening. It is the knowledge of the mind, and it is useful for navigating the world of forms. The other is not acquired, it is revealed. It springs from within when the mind is silent. It is the knowledge of the heart. It is the only knowledge useful for navigating eternity. The first we call erudition. The second we call gnosis. Hermetic teachings. Believe in nothing simply because you have heard it. Believe in nothing simply because it is spoken and rumored by many. Believe in nothing simply because it is found written in your religious books. Believe in nothing merely on the authority of your teachers and elders. But after observation and analysis, when you find that anything agrees with reason and is conducive to the good and benefit of one and all, then accept it and live up to it. Gautama Buddha Kalama Sutta. Traveler, we have come a long way together. We have explored the invisible library of the Akasha. We have traced the sacred geometry of creation. We have listened to the music of the spheres, and we have ignited the Merkabah light vehicle. Now you are full of information. Your mind buzzes with new concepts: torus, pineal, tetrahedron, astral. You feel wiser. You feel powerful. I have one last piece of devastating news for you. None of this is useful if it does not turn into blood. Knowing about water does not quench your thirst. You can read 1,000 books on the chemical composition of H2O, study the hydrodynamics of rivers, and memorize the maps of all the world's oceans. But an illiterate man who kneels at the river and drinks a sip of fresh water knows more about water than you do. You have the concept, he has the experience. You have the information, he has the gnosis. The Greek word gnosis means knowledge, but it does not refer to intellectual knowledge, episteme. It refers to knowledge through direct experience and inner revelation. It is the difference between reading the menu and eating the dinner. Most spiritual seekers starve to death while reading the menu. They become experts in Sanskrit, in Kabbalah, in theology, but their lives remain empty, fearful, and small. They are walking libraries with dry souls. The goal of the eye of the soul is not for you to learn new things. The goal is for you to be what you already know. Today we are going to throw the books into the fire. We are going to enter silent knowledge. The map is not the territory, the trap of the intellect. We live in the information age. We have access to all of humanity's knowledge with one click. And yet there has never been so much confusion, so much depression, and so much disconnection. Why? Because information is not wisdom. Information is external data processed by the logical brain. It is noise. Wisdom is internal data processed by the heart consciousness. It is silence. The intellect is a wonderful tool for dissecting reality, but it is terrible at uniting it. The intellect cuts the flower to study it under the microscope. It understands its cells, but it kills the flower. Gnosis contemplates the living flower, and in an instant of communion becomes the flower. It feels its sap. It feels its longing for the sun. It does not know things about the flower. It knows the flower from within. The great danger of the spiritual path is getting stuck in the map. You fall in love with the theory. You fall in love with crystals, incense, and exotic words. You build a spiritual ego that believes itself superior because it knows what a chakra is. That is just decoration. If you know everything about the Merkabah but still treat your neighbor poorly, you do not have gnosis, you have scholarly arrogance. Gnosis humbles you because it connects you, and by connecting you, you realize that you are the neighbor. To the death of the scholar, unlearning. To reach gnosis, you must first fill yourself with knowledge, learning phase, and then you must empty yourself, unlearning phase. There comes a moment in the path of the initiate where books are no longer useful, where lectures are boring, where rituals seem like empty theater. It is the dark night of the intellect. You feel that nothing you have read saves you from pain or death. It is a crucial moment. Many get scared and look for another book or another guru who is more advanced. The master knows it is the moment to let go. It is time to close the external library and open the inner eye. The vessel must be empty to be filled by the wine of the spirit. If your vessel is full of opinions, theories, and dogmas, even spiritual dogmas, God cannot enter. The state of not knowing, Shoshin or beginner's mind in Zen, is the door to gnosis. When you sincerely say, I know nothing, mind be quiet, universe teach me, the magic happens. Third, subject-object fusion, the mechanics of the miracle. How does gnosis work technically? In normal perception there is a duality, I, subject-object, observed thing. There is a distance, there is separation. I am here, the thing is there. The intellect measures that distance and analyzes the object from the outside. In gnosis, the distance collapses. The frequency of the observer synchronizes with the frequency of the object. Total resonance occurs. Subject and object merge. I-Chin, object. For a second, you are the music you are listening to. There is no you listening. There is only music. For a second, you are the mathematical problem. And because you are the problem, the solution arises instantaneously from within. Not through logical deduction, but through self-revelation. This is the source of all great scientific and artistic discoveries. Einstein did not discover relativity through cold calculations. He discovered it by visualizing himself traveling on a beam of light, gnosis imagination, and feeling what happened. Then he used mathematics, intellect, to explain what he already knew by direct experience. Gnosis is the lightning. The intellect is the thunder that follows. For the inner master, the guru is a mirror. The search for gnosis ends the dependence on gurus. In the childhood stage, we need teachers, parents, and priests to tell us what is true and what is a lie. We look for authority outside. Master, is it right to eat meat? Master, what happens when we die? We want someone else to take responsibility for our truth. Gnosis returns authority to you. You discover that you have an inner master, the Satguru in the heart or the higher self. This master never shouts, never doubts, is always available. When you connect with him, through silence and the practice of the soul's eye, you obtain personalized answers. What is true for another may not be true for you at this moment. The book says fast. Your inner master says eat. You need grounding. Whom do you obey? The Gnostic obeys the inner voice, even if it contradicts sacred scripture, because scripture is the record of the gnosis of another man in another time. Your gnosis is living and current. True external gurus do not want followers. They want to create other masters. They are mirrors. If you see light in them, it is because that light is in you. They only reflect it back to you so that you may recognize it. The burning bush, the direct encounter. In the Bible, Moses sees a bush that burns without being consumed. He approaches, and the bush speaks to him. He did not read a report on botanical fire. He did not consult a priest about igneous theology. He had a direct experience. He spoke with God face to face. That is Gnosis. All organized religions are born from the Gnostic experience of a single individual, Jesus, Buddha, Muhammad, Moses. That individual has direct contact with the source. Then their followers, who have not had the experience, create rules, dogmas, buildings, and hierarchies to try to manage or remember that experience. Religion is the ash of a fire that burned in the past. Gnosis is the fire burning now. Do not settle for worshipping the ashes of others. Look for your own burning bush. Look for the moment when reality is torn and you feel the divine presence in your own room. That moment is worth more than 1,000 lives of mechanical prayer. That moment changes your cellular structure. You no longer believe in God. You know God. Belief is an opinion. Knowing is a cellular certainty. Here's the holographic download, light packets. How does it feel to receive Gnosis? Unlike linear learning, which requires time and effort reading page by page, Gnosis arrives as an instant download. It is a light packet. You are washing the dishes, or walking in the woods, or meditating, and suddenly, bam, you understand. You understand the structure of the universe, or you understand why your father treated you that way, or you understand the solution to your illness. It is a complete spherical holographic piece of information. It arrives all at once. Then, your brain takes hours, days, or years to decompress that file. It takes time to translate it into linear words. Many sacred books were written by mystics trying to explain in 500 pages what they saw in 1 second of Gnosis. Trust those downloads. They are software updates sent from your higher self. Do not discard them because they are not logical. The logic of the old operating system, 3D, cannot process the new software, 5D. Install it first, understand it later. 7. The heresy of light, persecution. Historically, Gnostics have always been persecuted. The early church persecuted Christian Gnostics. Academic institutions ridicule the intuitive. Why? Because Gnosis is dangerous to the control system. The system, the matrix, the egregores, needs intermediaries. It needs you to depend on the doctor for your health, the politician for your security, the priest for your salvation, and the expert for your knowledge. The intermediary charges a toll: money, obedience, energy. The Gnostic eliminates the intermediary. He connects directly to the source. He heals himself, knowing his energy. He governs himself, natural law. He saves himself, inner Christ. He is uncontrollable. He cannot be frightened with hell nor bribed with heaven because he already carries heaven within. Therefore, this path is for the brave. Claiming your own divinity and cognitive authority is a revolutionary act. It is declaring the independence of your soul. Fate, cellular certainty, the body knows. The mind doubts. The body knows. The mind is a prostitute. It goes with any argument that seems logical. Today it believes one thing. Tomorrow it reads another book and believes the opposite. Gnosis is felt in the body. It is a cellular certainty. It is a shiver of truth, frisson. It is a feeling of expansion in the chest, of heat in the hands, of a perfect fit in the solar plexus. When you hear a truth, with a capital T, your body vibrates like a tuning fork. You say, "This resonates with me." You don't know why, but you know. That resonance is your DNA recognizing a familiar frequency. Truth is not something you learn. It is something you remember. When someone tells you an eternal truth, you don't feel surprise. You feel relief. You feel, finally, I already knew that. I had just forgotten it. Use your body as a barometer of truth. If an idea contracts you, makes you cold, or makes you nauseous, it is a lie for you. If an idea expands and relaxes you, it is your path. Tied to the last door, leaving the boat at the shore, the Buddha told a parable. A man wants to cross a rushing river. He builds a raft, the Dharma, the teachings, the techniques. He rows with effort and reaches the other shore, enlightenment. Once on firm ground, what does he do? Does he hoist the raft onto his back and carry it with him for the rest of the journey through the forest? No, it would be a useless burden. He leaves the raft on the shore and continues walking free. The techniques we have learned in this book, sacred geometry, pineal activation, the Merkabah, are the raft. They are tools to cross the river of ignorance and density. But a day will come when you will have to leave them. A day will come when you will not need to meditate, because your whole life will be a meditation. You will not need to visualize the Merkabah, because you will be living light. You will not need to consult the Akasha, because you will live in the omniscient flow of the now. The final Gnosis is absolute simplicity. It is being, without techniques, without effort, without searching. The seeker becomes the sought. The journey ends where it began, but now you know who you are. Conclusion: the 360-degree vision. The audio ends here. Silence fills the room once again. But you and I know that this silence is no longer empty. Now you know that the air around you is vibrating with the memory of the Akasha, that the chair where you sit is supported by an invisible sacred geometry, and that your own heart is emitting a toroidal magnetic field. That field touches the walls. You are no longer in a closed room. You are floating in an ocean of living consciousness. Throughout these 10 chapters, we have performed major surgery. We have removed the cataracts of materialism that made you believe you were only flesh and bone. I have asked you to stop believing in the solid. I have asked you to start trusting the invisible. I have shown you that you have a light vehicle, Merkabah, capable of defying gravity, a crystal gland capable of seeing through time, and a heart that functions as a stargate. But all this spiritual technology has a single purpose. It is not for you to flee from the earth. It is not so that you feel special, magical, or superior to others. It is so that you live human life with 360-degree vision. What does this mean? It means walking with your feet on the ground and your head in the sky. It means going to the supermarket, paying bills, raising your children, and washing the dishes, but doing it with purpose. Doing it while knowing that you are moving sacred energy. When you look at a stranger on the bus, you no longer see a random body. You see a fractal of the same source as you, fighting its own battles in a different suit. When you look at a tree, you see the Fibonacci spiral breathing. When you look at a problem, you don't see a wall. You see a geometric lesson that seeks to reorder your life toward a higher octave. The eye of the soul transforms the ordinary into the extraordinary. It eliminates boredom forever. How could you be bored in a universe where every atom sings and every coincidence is a direct message? A message from cosmic intelligence. It eliminates the fear of death forever. How could you fear losing a biological suit when you know you are the immortal driver of a chariot of fire? Now, the responsibility is yours. Do not store this knowledge in the intellectual attic, alongside other curious facts. Use it. Embody it. Clean your pineal. Activate your torus. Listen to your intuition before the news. Become a seer in a world of the blind. But remember the final lesson. The true seer is not the one who boasts of seeing auras or predicting the future. The true seer is the one who, precisely because they see the divinity in everyone, treats them with kindness. They treat everyone with radical kindness. The one who sees unity cannot harm anyone, because they know they are harming themselves. The ultimate proof that you have opened the eye of the soul is not psychic power. It is unconditional love. The world needs your eyes open. Humanity is lost in a nightmare of materialism and separation. They are lost in fear. We need lighthouses. We need conscious observers who collapse the quantum wave function into peace, health, and freedom. You are that observer. Your gaze creates reality. What are you going to choose to see today?